Alrighty, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 4, Episode 19 of Hit the Books, the podcast all about sports betting, the best bets you should be taking in everything surrounding sports. This week, we have reached the NFL playoffs here. Wild Card weekend is here. Lots of recaps and reviews, plus some college football happening now with the college football playoff. Deep dive in the NFL playoffs, some notes in the college football playoff, like I said, and more. Let's jump in this week's episode. The whole crew here today, me, Huff, Ace, and Mackie. Let's start it off with Huff this week. Huff, what do you got for us here heading into Wild Card weekend?
Yeah, obviously, we made it to the NFL playoffs. You blink and the NFL regular season feels like it flew by. 18 weeks, just like that. We're sitting here talking playoff football. We have a minimized slate this week, 6 games, but nothing's better than playoff football. I'm excited to get into it. Obviously, college football playoff this weekend. Huge weekend in the world of sports. College basketball is rolling. We've been struggling on the card the past 2 days, looking to get back to it tonight with 4 out there. By the time you're listening to this, that'll be over. But yeah, great time in the sports world. I'm excited for this weekend with all the football on.
Heck yeah, me too. Excited as well here. Ace, why don't we get to you next? What do you think's happening here this week in Wild Card weekend?
Yeah, hyped to get to the playoffs here. Like Huff said, it was a blink of an eye, and here we are. I mean, my team's on the outside looking in. Same with Mackey's here, so we get to be a little bit more relaxed and use our brains more than our hearts in the betting, which is nice. And I'd like to say it's going to be a back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl championship for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know you all hate hearing that, but it's the inevitable. Other than that, we got the college football playoffs rolling along. The NHL's heating up. My team's starting slow out of the break, so you hate to see that. But NBA is looking good too, and the boys are carrying in college basketball betting world. So ready to go on another week here.
Heck yeah, lots of good stuff. Mackie, why don't we finish it off here with you before we jump into this week?
Yeah, wild card weekend already here. I think Ace alluded to who I think the Super Bowl champion is going to be as well, but we'll get into that later. Season flew by, said it would, and it did. Few unexpected seasons, but Cowboys not being in it definitely changes my perspective on the whole thing. But yeah, excited to be in it. Excited to finally be here.
Heck yeah, lots of good stuff, boys. Again, folks, don't forget about our live streams every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, covering those crazy NFL games each Sunday, and giving you our best bets and all the picks for the day on there while posting them on Instagram and Twitter each Sunday. But let's jump into our episode here this week, starting out in the NFL. Let's jump right into this wild card slate here. 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday to round out our list here for wild card weekend. Starting on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Chargers and the Texans in Houston. Chargers the favorite here, 3 points for them, total 42.5. Chargers money line at minus 155. Texans at plus 130. What are you guys thinking about this first matchup here for wild card weekend? Mackie?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a situation a lot like last year when we saw the Browns go into Houston. Everyone thought the Browns were going to get the job done, and we saw a goose egg, and CJ Stroud really lit up that defense that was so good last year. Same scenario, Chargers have a pretty good defense this year. They've overexceeded. You have a quarterback who's never won a playoff game in the Chargers. I know everyone loves Justin Herbert, and he's very good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but never seems to get the job done. I think they're going to have a tough time against this Houston team who's been struggling. I think they're gonna shock everyone. Home dogs too. I got the Texans here. Before I see anything from Justin Herbert, I can't bet on him in a playoff game. Not saying it's necessarily his fault, but things just don't seem to go his way. CJ Stroud could have a good bounce back game after a pretty rough year. I think Nico Collins is going to be a huge factor, and I see Joe Mixon getting in the end zone at least once here. Give me the Texans here on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, what else is new? We get to see the Houston Texans in the 3:30 slate in Wild Card weekend on a Saturday. I think that's a crazy stat. I don't know if Justin get me the advanced analytics on that, but the last few years we've seen them at the 3:30 Saturday.
The Texans or the Bengals can basically be penciled into the first Saturday game every year if they make the playoffs.
You know what that means, Huff? That means nobody really cares about this game, in that it's going to be a team that's not going to end up winning the Super Bowl. But jokes aside, it is going to be a great football game. I think the Chargers earned their right. They brought in their coach, Harbaugh, and he's really turned that team around. They have a top-notch defense. They got the running game going with Dobbins and Edwards, and they have some other backs are stepping up. They got Lad McConkey there, Will Dissly jumping on the scene, and Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback, like Huff and I have been saying for years. Get Brandon Staley out of there. Get the Chargers into the playoffs. They have depth all around. Their defense is showing up. Meanwhile, the Texans, they somewhat limped into the playoffs, but do they even have to try in that weak AFC South? It's been the weakest division for years now. Maybe you could say the NFC South is, but I think this AFC South is very light. CJ Stroud having a sophomore slump and still finding his way into that 1 seed in the AFC South. He has Nico Collins back healthy. I think he's a top 5, top 10 receiver. They have Joe Mixon, who they brought in free agency. We've seen how those free agency running backs have all exploded for their teams, taking them to the playoffs. Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, Mixon. So they brought him in as well. I think it's going to be a hotly contested game. I keep going back and forth. Y'all might have seen that reel I posted earlier today with taking the Texans on the money line. I also start leaning towards the Chargers -3 plus 100. I think that's interesting as well. I'm really torn on this game. I like props more so in this one, but a Harbaugh-led team is very tough to go against. Meanwhile, the Texans have been there and done that, like Mackie said. Stay tuned for my official picks, but if you had to ask me right now, I'm going to say Texans. You had to ask me 2 days from now, might be saying Chargers. I'm not really too sure. Huff, let me know what you're thinking in this one.
Yeah, I don't necessarily lean a certain side here. I like the over. I think 2 good quarterbacks in a dome. I think they're going to let us start out with a pretty fun game here with the Chargers and Texans. Obviously, like you said, Texans kind of struggling, kind of limping their way in. Still have a divisional game. Mackie pointed out the home underdog factor. I think the Texans will be a live dog in this game with a chance to win it. I like the over 42.5. I think you could get a final score. I'm going to say 24-23. Chargers win the game.
Yeah, and one thing that we noticed was all those free agents flocking to Houston in the offseason as everybody thought C.J. Stroud was the next Patrick Mahomes. Their defense has stepped up. It's a much tougher unit than it was in past years. And I think that's the reason they won that division. We all thought it'd be Stroud and co lighting it up with Diggs out for the year. Now Dell out. It's a very different offense. It's back to Collins and Mixon, a little bit of Schultz too. We see Robert Woods getting involved. I think it's going to be a defensively played game. I like the under here this week. I think both teams are going to step up. Texans have been here before, and Harbaugh, we saw him. He just won a national championship last year. Now he's here to play smart football, keep it on the ground, look for Dobbins to explode. It's going to be a great game here. Bringing in that lineman alt was a nice piece to add for the Chargers as well. So I think it's going to be tight throughout. If you tease it either way, I think you're not in a bad spot. But the under is my favorite play here with a couple of props mixed in.
Out of their last 13 playoff games, only 3 have landed on a Sunday. The other 10 on Saturday.
Texans.
Yes.
That one of those 3 was probably that Deshaun Watson game against the Chiefs.
That was it. That was a Sunday game. I remember driving back to
24
WVU when we were
3.
watching that. But no, I think it was the game. Weren't the Texans up like crazy, and then
They're up like 24-3. Yeah, and they lost
the
like
Chiefs came back and won. That was the first
47-30.
time they won the Super Bowl. Yeah,
51-31.
I couldn't. I in this spot. I
Jesus.
have to take the Chargers here. I've been defending Justin Herbert for the past 4 years. Get him a new coach. He can win a playoff
Well,
game.
Huff.
I'm going to say Chargers win this game.
Huff, you think he's going to win a close game? If anything, I think they'll have a 17-point win, if anything. But
I'm
mean,
more
him to go
picking
in
that-
and
I'm more
have-
picking that score because I like this over a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chargers cover that.
I think
That was just the most realistic number I could get to in my head with why the Texans are only 3 points. I know they're home.
I think if it's close, it's the Texans.
I think there's going to be
I'm taking the
pressure.
better defense here.
The Chargers are the better defense. I agree, but that Texans defense is no slouch. I think we're going to see a lot of running from Justin Herbert in these big-time games, primetime games. He always does get running, and he's actually pretty mobile with the ball. Getting Dobbins back is healthy, too. I think 2 value plays I would look at for anytime touchdown scores would be the 2 tight ends. Will Dissly jumped onto the scene after being a blocking tight end early in his career, and then Dalton Schultz on the other side, a security blanket for C.J. Stroud. I could see both of them finding their way into the end zone, hitting pay dirt. Meanwhile, I think Dobbins and Mixon can find their way. And then again, McConkey and Collins, those top-end wide receiver ones, are going to have big days as well. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm so torn on this game, but I'm opposite the way of you, Huff. I'm on the under here. Probably won't be betting this game too heavily, but going to be a very tightly contested matchup that I'm excited to watch.
Alrighty, great start to our Saturday here in Wildcard Weekend. Let's move forward here to the 8 p.m. Eastern game. Steelers-Ravens in Baltimore. Ravens are the favorite here. 9.5 points for them. Total 43.5. Ravens money line at -500. Steelers at +380. Huff, what are you thinking the Steelers are going to be able to do here this year in the wild card against the Ravens?
I'm obviously not too confident going into this one. But I mean, I could pull all the Steelers-Ravens stats, the Tomlin dog stats. He's not good as an underdog of 8.5 or more. 1.5 or 1-8 straight up in those last 9 matchups as an 8.5 point underdog or higher. That does fit this game here. That is just straight up, not against the spread. So basically, that's saying Baltimore wins a game. Obviously, the Tomlin underdog, you think he covers. I'll take the Steelers with the points here. I think this is just a buy low spot. I mean, they look absolutely terrible the past 3-4 weeks. Tough schedule. They look good in that Cincinnati game. They made Cincinnati play their kind of play style, keep it low scoring. 19-17 or whatever it was. I don't even remember what the final score was, but if Pickens catches a ball, Steelers win that game. We're playing in Houston this week. It's a lot different story going to Baltimore. 8 o'clock game down there. That stadium is going to be rocking. I'll take the Steelers with the points. I think they hang around. I hope they win the game. I'm not too confident in this one, but obviously be repping the black and gold here. Give me the Steelers with the points. I just there's not much else to say about this team right now. They just have to go out there and do it.
Mackie, Ace, what are you thinking?
I have nothing to say about this game. I mean, it's tough because it's like the Steelers going in. They're going into Baltimore, but then again, it's Baltimore in the playoffs, and it's Ravens Steelers. Steelers always get the job done against the Ravens, at least in recent history. But there's absolutely no way you can bet on the Steelers team right now, and I can't take Lamar in the playoffs. I think that they could definitely win this game by 30 points. Steelers haven't really done much, although they did have a pretty good Week 18 game. They didn't get the job done against a really good Bengals team. They can hang around at least. I'm not gonna have a play on this game. I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't have a play. If I'm gonna lean anything, I lean on the Ravens. I think if you want to be safe, you tease them down. I don't really see them losing this game the way the Steelers season's been going the last 4 or 5 weeks. But definitely not gonna have a play on the straight spread. Ace, you're muted.
Well, I'm gonna start off by patting myself on the back here because 5 weeks ago, let's rewind to when I was the only one.
Didn't he bring this up last week? Is he gonna bring it up every week?
One on the cast saying, "Oh, this Ravens team is very, very good. It's a team you don't want to see. They're gonna win this AFC North. The Steelers team can't produce offense. Their best player."
You say that like it's a hot take. They've been like the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl.
Go back.
Also,
go back
a
few weeks.
Go
back a few weeks, though. Go back a few weeks, though. And this Steelers team was touted as division winners. They were touted as one of the top teams that defense carrying the load. But I was saying this all year long. How are they going to be able to put points on the board? I still think they can't answer that question. Chris Boswell has been the only saving grace to get points up. Najee Harris always banged up and looking slow.
Najee Harris 1,000-yard season.
He's already on his way out. You guys have been writing him off. Every Steelers fan I've heard talk about can't wait to see that guy.
He's had a bad year. He has 1,000 yards. First running back in the line. I forget what the stat is.
How many times have you said he is out? How many times have you said he is out,
dude? Pickens is out after next year.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, back to my question.
We don't re-sign number ones. We just redraft.
Back to the actual point, though. How are they going to score points? I asked this question the last time they matched up with the Ravens. Didn't get a clear answer.
Saying. That's all I want. That's all I'm going to say.
Can't get an answer.
Every single person in America is saying.
Still just trying to give my take here. I think the Ravens are a much better team on paper and on the playing field. I don't think there's any way that the Steelers can put up points, especially in a very tough spot here on the road going into a tough atmosphere. I don't think there's anything except Jalen Warren's the only guy I look at. Maybe Freiermuth to move the sticks. You're going to have to get big plays from George Pickens. But meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, they're firing on all cylinders. Yeah, Lamar Jackson might not win the MVP, but he's playing perhaps his best football of his career. I think the limitation of turnovers, extending the pocket, extending plays, using his feet, getting the ball to his playmakers, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman really jumping onto the scene too. There's just a lot of mouths to feed on that Ravens offense, and they can put up points left and right. I think one thing that really stands out to me is that Derrick Henry hasn't had much success against these Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been everybody else. The Steelers have actually contained him pretty well. Tough for him to find pay dirt. I think it's going to be guys like Mark Andrews finding the end zone with a very strong second half of the season. Going to look to lock that one in. I think Bateman's is a shady play too, as he likes to find the end zone as well. Mackie, what's your take here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, and granted, they did add Derrick Henry, but like you alluded to, he hasn't done much against the Steelers this year. This is kind of the same situation the Ravens were in last year. Granted, they ran into the Chiefs in the playoffs and not the Pittsburgh Steelers.
In the AFC Championship.
No, it wasn't. They didn't win a playoff game last year.
They went to the AFC Championship.
I thought it was their. No, they lost. They lost in the second round because they had a first round bye.
Ravens were the 1 seed last year.
Yeah, they lost in the second round.
They lost at home. They lost at home to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Can you fact check that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they lost first round or second round.
You might be right, because didn't the Ravens beat the Texans last year?
Championship.
Say AFC Championship.
Ravens beat the Texans last year.
They only lost by a touchdown to the Chiefs.
Yeah, but they put up
championship.
Jesse, how many points they put up?
17-10. It was a close game against the
Put up 10 points. Lamar Jackson's MVP season, how electric he was last year.
Mackie, that's the back-to-back Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs are talking about.
Which is what I'm saying. Yeah, but you're going up against a very good defense, divisional opponent you've seen twice this year. You're not going to tell me there isn't a bit of the same situation going on here. Granted,
coldest team going into the playoffs though, unlike the hot Chiefs.
Good defense, and it's Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. You gotta get over that hump. You got to play a little better.
He's been winning playoff games though lately.
He has 2 playoff wins in his career.
It's just Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you could say this
Yes,
about
wait.
everybody.
He has
Nobody
two.
can get
He has
past
two
Patrick
playoff.
Mahomes.
Why aren't you letting me talk now? He has 2 playoff wins in his career. He has not been winning playoff games. He beat a Texans team last
But
year.
Mackie,
It was
it's Patrick
CJ
Mahomes
Stroud's
that
first
they
playoff
run
win.
into. Everybody runs into Patrick Mahomes and loses. It's the inevitable.
Put up 10 points though. It's about how good Lamar Jackson is, and then when he gets to the playoffs, he can't put up points. Listen, you watched that game last year. He had every chance to win that football game, and he didn't.
But that's the Chiefs. That's the best defense in the NFL, led by the best defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Okay, but you're running into a divisional opponent in the Steelers, who also have a very good defense.
Oldest team in the league.
Probably the best pass rusher in the league. And it's the 3rd time you're seeing this team. It's not going to be like a rollover. It's going to.
I think it is. I'm going to take the Ravens by double digits here. I think that they easily handle this team, as they are going to get the ball in very generous field position early and often, as the inept Steelers offense will be unable to make any offensive plays. It's George Pickens on deep play threats. Russell Wilson's already got his bag packed to be out of Pittsburgh next year. You might see some Justin Fields when the going gets tough at this week.
I did say that I think the Ravens do win this game, and I think it shouldn't be close, but I would not be surprised at all if the Steelers just pulled out their.
But how though? How are they going to put points on the board, Mackie? That's my question.
What do you mean? We've seen them put points on the board. What did they score against? They
scored
scored 42 against the Bengals. They beat the Ravens.
The Bengals are the weakest defense in the NFL,
one,
but they're also so cold coming into the playoffs. This offense hasn't been able to produce anything. It's just a fact. I'm just asking a question. What are they going to do?
They also have a great coach, and you've seen seasons flip just like that in the playoffs. You've seen it happen.
It's just the truth. I just don't think they're going to be able to put points on the board. It's week in and week out.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying there's definitely a scenario here where Steelers win this football game.
I don't think
he doesn't see that, dude. He's just on his knees for Lamar.
It's all good.
Hey, it's
just got to be a little realistic about it. We've seen it.
We are realistic. You can be biased because it's your favorite
history.
team. You can be biased because it's your favorite team, but it's true. It's the coldest team coming into the playoffs in the league that can't produce any offense. They went against one of the weakest defensive units in the league last week and couldn't get the job done. I don't know how they're going to score points against the hottest offense in the NFL.
Another divisional matchup against a good quarterback.
What happened the last time they played, though? What happened last time they played in Baltimore?
What happened the first time they played?
It's not in Pittsburgh, though.
Okay, Lamar Jackson has 3 turnovers against the Steelers this year. You're saying it's going to be crazy if he throws a pick 6 or 2 picks this week?
I think that's
it's not crazy.
blasphemy
I'll
to
tell
say.
you right now,
How many interceptions does he have on the season even?
2 against the Steelers in 2 games.
I know, but they weren't his fault. I think I'm going to go with the Ravens.
You don't even know
minus 8.5.
You're just saying that.
No, did you not watch it? You were at the game. You saw him took it out of his hand.
The one we won in Pittsburgh, that was the one that got ripped out of his hands. The one in Baltimore, you can't say that wasn't his fault.
But they blew him out that game.
Ask me how many interceptions he has. I said 2 against the Steelers in 2 games.
All I know is I've asked the question the whole year, haven't gotten a straight answer, and that's the reason I'm going to take the Ravens with the points. There's no way the Steelers can put points on the board. I don't think they can win this game. Would they shock me if they scored? It would be because the defense has to play an elite game. It has to be top-notch game. TJ Watt has to have multiple turnovers. It's going to have to be be the carrying the load. That's a very tall order.
That's the whole point here. It would be the defense winning the football game.
That's a very, very tall order going on.
But it's the most realistic outcome. For the Steelers to win this football game is for the defense. It's not like it's a
17-14 win.
And it's not like it's the craziest thing ever. They won the first matchup 6 field goals.
This is the most unbalanced matchup in the first round right here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It is what it is. But I'm going to be taking Ravens props here. I like Mark Andrews. Like I said before, I think Derrick Henry will probably score, but can't take the juice on it with the way that he's ran up against that defense. They have neutralized him pretty well. Lamar Jackson, look for him to scamper throughout the field, go over on his touchdown passing prop, and throw one to Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, if healthy. That's an interesting one, too. Got to make sure he's fully healthy, the Pro Bowl wide receiver from the Ravens.
I hope all of those lose.
Sorry to throw a damper on it, but it's true. Coming in with no team into the playoffs, I got to look at it straight, and there's just
the Ravens are your team. Don't say no team. You have a team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
the Ravens are your 1.1.
Oh, the Yinzers, they're getting salty here. But I am on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl here. You heard me say at the beginning of the podcast. I just think the Ravens are going to be that team that goes to the AFC Championship and loses to them once again.
Alrighty. Lots of good stuff here out of Saturday. Let's get moving here into Sunday here. Go into 1 o'clock here in Wildcard Weekend. Broncos and Bills. Bills are the favorite here at home. 9 points for them. Total at 47. Bills money line at minus 450. Broncos at plus 350. Ace, what do you think?
I think this game is going to be much closer for the AFC here. I think that the Broncos defense is very strong, like the Steelers defense, but Bo Nix has shown us the capability of putting points on the board. And sometimes that Bills team gets off to a slow start. I do think they end up winning that game. Home field advantage, once again, we're going to play a massive role. And they've been here before. I think that the Broncos are just happy to get to the playoffs. That was their Super Bowl, to get that 7 seed, win against the weak Chiefs secondary lineup last week and get in. But Bo Nix, Sean Payton, very veteran coach, kind of like we were talking about with Harbaugh before, and a good defensive unit. You can't really count him out. The Bills, they historically collapse in the playoffs. That's just something they always do. If Josh Allen gets into the turnover bug, which we know he's done in the past, not so much this year as he's MVP Josh Allen, but I think they're going to be able to hang around in this one, keep it close, look for James Cook to find the end zone. That's one of my favorite plays. Was very soft on James Cook at the beginning of the year, but I've come around on him. He's a very strong running back. And they added well with Amari Cooper. They got Dalton Kincaid and Knox. They got Coleman on the outside, Matt Collins. It's a lot of weapons for that Bills team. I know their defense has played well. Still not super sold on it, but I think Josh Allen's going to be able to do enough to continue his MVP season with a home win this week. Mackie, let me know what you think about the Bills and Broncos.
First of all, you can't talk about them falling apart in the playoffs when you're just talking about the Ravens.
Literally everything you just said applies.
I
was biting my tongue the whole
Bills
time.
have never won a Super Bowl. They've never won a Super Bowl.
What'd you say?
They've never won a Super Bowl.
We're not talking about 1990s here.
Ravens
No, I'm just saying that's just Bills. That's just Bills lore. That's just
right.
Bills lore.
But the Bills have been losing in really good Josh Allen games,
led by a good coach in a spot against a team known
They have an
to
offense that can score
games.
points.
Hold up. Let me give my take. Okay, Bo Nix. Granted, he's played great against pretty lowly teams, though. He's played great against pretty lowly teams. Better teams, he doesn't put up as many points. How many times do we have to watch these mid teams go into Highmark and think that they have a chance to win a football game? We saw it last year against the Steelers. Got absolutely lit up. Highmark is probably the hardest stadium to go into and win a football game.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to win.
I think that this
Bo Nix is much
I think
better
this could
than
be a
this,
25-30 point win. I think Bo Nix has really bad.
Oh,
a really bad first.
Points.
What?
You're taking him with the points.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
I think that he has a very bad first playoff showing. I think that the Broncos
on the card.
aren't ready for this. You're probably going to see it teased down, but yeah, I'm definitely going to have him on the card. This is just what the Bills do. They win these football games. They beat these bad teams. Sure. You're probably going to see Ravens Bills next week at Highmark, and I really think the Bills win that game as well. But I don't see a scenario where the Broncos even keep this one close.
I just think the Bills start slow this year for some reason. It's weird. It's like you always know they're going to win, but they get off the slow starts and they have this weird aura about them. And then the second half starts and it's boom, it's bang, 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 touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Sean Payton, good coach too. Bo Nix can move the ball well. They have a trio
Not against
running
good
back.
teams.
We'll see. I think it could be a tight one though. Huff, what do you think about Bills Broncos?
I'm gonna take the under here. Obviously, Broncos defense pretty good. I think the only thing that scares me is obviously the Bills playing at home. Like Mackie said, I think this could be a rout if the Bills and Josh Allen do get rolling. But I'm gonna lean on the Broncos to keep it close and keep it a low scoring game. I'll take the under 47.
Yeah, I like the under here this week too. I think it's going to start slower. Everybody expects these two quarterbacks to snap off, but I think it's going to be a slower game here.
Like, do you think the Broncos come out slinging it with Bo Nix? I don't. I think they're going to try to
chew some clock.
They're hitting the ground all
I don't
game.
know. Like the other part of it is like
I
you're
think
playing the
way.
MVP. Like you
but
have
they're
to come out.
They're also big threat plays. You know who stepped up the last few weeks? If you guys have been watching Broncos games, Marvin Mims Jr. He's a gadget player that turns into a big play threat. He's got that take the top off the defense type speed.
He caught the big touchdown against the Bengals, right?
Yeah, he had 2 that week actually.
I didn't know he caught the one I'm saying with like 8 seconds left or whatever.
Oh, earlier in the year. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He had 2 touchdowns though in that game. They ended up losing in overtime. I think it was the Chargers, right? Chargers Broncos.
No, it was that Bengals game.
Oh, it was the Bengals game.
Yeah,
he had
he caught the touchdown to force overtime.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then last week he ended up scoring against. I know it was against the Chiefs, just second unit, but still, I mean, he's firing on all cylinders coming into the playoffs. That's the one thing that scares me with this underhuff is the Broncos and Bo Nix can hit those big. They have the big playability. Same with the Bills on the other side.
Late, like they don't. They could be down 20 points, and like I feel like they could kind of
The
still
least
be going
rookie quarterback of all time in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
The problem with the Broncos scheme here is that you're not gonna slowly win this game. It's gonna have to be big plays for Bo Nix, and you got to get him going early. But then you run the risk of him throwing an interception early, and the game's out of your grasp. I think it's a hit or miss here, but you have to swing the football early and try to get them on their toes at least.
Mhm.
Their weapons
You
too
know
are
the
good enough.
Bills are coming out and getting a touchdown first possession. It's just how it goes.
They've just been slow to start, which scares me. I don't know why they've been doing that this year. They're such a great team too. It's like they wait to get.
This is a fun matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cortland Sutton. I'm going to look at him and Marvin Mims to get the ball early and often. Deshaun Vele, you see that catch he had last week. I mean, we feel like we got to shout that out. I know it. I know it was against the secondary Chiefs, but that was an insane play. just their whole receiving core is starting to turn up. They're playing for Sean Payton well. Nick Bonitto, what was it, the John Gruden take where they couldn't name everybody on the defense, but they're all playing great football. It's a good unit. I think another great play besides James Cook, look for Josh Allen to find the end zone once again. Loves doing it at home in the playoffs. I could just see the clip of him either diving in, and it's all over Bills media this week. But the two of them will be finding the end zone this week.
Alrighty, boys. Moving forward here on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Packers and Eagles in Philadelphia. Eagles the favorite, 4.5 points for them. 45.5 is the total, minus 225 on the money line for the Eagles, plus 185 for the Packers. What are we thinking about this midday matchup here on Sunday?
Second matchup of the year too. We saw them in Brazil in week 1. We saw the Eagles.
That's right.
Eagles win that one. Jordan Love ended up getting hurt the second to last play of the game, whatever it was. I like the Packers here. I really do. I think Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's a concussion. He has to be 100% if he's playing. But he hasn't played in a few weeks. Could see those that rust in the beginning of the game. I don't know. I like the Packers here. I think they played great last year against the Cowboys. First round, they kind of shocked everyone. I think you're going to see a lot of people on the Eagles here expecting. They sat everyone last week, expecting them to have the rest. That's the rest over rust whole scenario. But I don't know. It's a 4.5 here. I think it'll land inside the 4.5 at least. I think Packers cover a spread here.
Scary matchup. I'm so nervous with Jalen Hurts. He's been limited in practice this week. He's been taking first team.
Today was his first day of practice.
Is he like 1,000% playing?
If you
They're
like
saying
you said,
no,
if you
but
come
he
back from a
is.
concussion, you have to be.
It's a concussion. There's no I'll play through it. He
He's
has
playing.
to be cleared.
And the thing is, I'm just nervous because he's been out
Heck,
for
he
a
wasn't
little
allowed
bit.
to lift. He wasn't allowed to lift.
He's
Well,
limited.
He also has a hand injury as well.
He's limited in return to practice. How can you be limited? Yeah, he's a left finger injury.
Yeah, he's been kind of banged up this season. And you know what's crazy is everybody's like, oh, this Eagles team is the only one that can compete with the Lions in the NFC. Like I remember I think Hoffy might have said it's a 2-team race out there. But this first round game is perhaps the scariest one for the Eagles. Your quarterback's coming off an injury. He hasn't played in a few weeks. And you're going against a really well-coached, tough football team in the Green Bay Packers. We saw them do this to the NFC East champions last year, dethrone them in their own building as they had that crazy game against Mackey's Cowboys. They came out firing. They have all the weapons. I know Watson's out for the year now, but they still have Reed. They have Tucker Kraft, who's jumped onto the scene. Josh Jacobs coming into the mix now. I think it's going to be a slow game here. If I ever liked an under, it'd be this one. It's going to be a lot of Barkley, a lot of Jacobs, the two new toys that came over in free agency. We like to say that a lot this year, but it's true. Really resetting that running back market, maybe. I think both of them do find the end zone here. Jordan Love, I don't know. I'm scared of this Packers team. I'm on the Eagles here because I think they can make a
Jordan Love
deep
also got
run.
hurt last week. What's going on with him?
Yeah, I think he's going to be good to go this week, though. I think that was just precautionary, holding him out.
He's officially limited.
Yeah.
I'm
they're
going
both
Eagles
gonna
here.
play.
I love this spot for the Eagles.
What do you think? What do you think the line?
Packers. Go ahead.
What do you think the line moves to if Jalen Hurts doesn't play?
I mean, yeah, Packers -2.
Pick them almost.
I think you're better off getting the value on the 4.5 right now.
No, I know, but I think Jalen Hurts plays. I think he rests the past 2 weeks. They've been dealing with Pickett and.
But the only thing is, it's not like you say he rested, he's good to go. He has to be cleared. It's concussion.
Jesse just said he's cleared from the concussion.
He's not cleared.
He did a full practice today.
I just read something that he has a long way to go, but
they're both
as of 38 minutes ago. He had a full practice today.
Jordan Love and
The
Jalen Hurts.
concussion's fine. He can play through the hand.
33 minutes ago, I'm looking at it. It says, hold on. It says, with an official limited listing to begin the week, Hurts still has some work to do to gain clearance from an independent neurologist ahead of Sunday's wildcard contest versus the Packers, but he's at least put himself in a path to do so.
Using our better minds, though, both these quarterbacks are playing this week in the playoffs.
So yeah,
Jordan Love is definitely playing, but the other, I mean, you can't say he's going to play through it.
You can't start Tanner McKee in the playoffs.
Mackie, this also goes both ways. I think Jordan Love plays too. I'm saying if both quarterbacks are playing this game, I'm anticipating Love versus Hurts, like we got in Week 1 in Brazil. I'm going to take the Eagles -4.5 here. I think I've been big on
score
this
Week
Packers
1?
team.
I think it was 38-33.
It got up there.
It was a late one.
It got up there. I just like the Eagles at home in this spot. I think that's a very tough place to go in and play. I'm sure the weather's not going to be great over there in Philly. If there's a team that's used to it, though, it's Green Bay. I think, like A said, you're going to see a lot of Barkley, a lot of Jacobs. I think Saquon's going to be the difference in this game. I think the Eagles are going to show why they rested him last week and kind of put him to work and, show why they went out and got him in that big market and paid him what he did. I think the Eagles have a big day here. I'll take the Eagles minus the 4.5 here.
God, I fucking hate the Eagles.
You know what's I'm like so high on this Eagles team this week. But if you guys saw that graphic I put earlier, I took them on the money line just because like I'm just scared with Hurts coming back off injury. Are they going to be
I like
hesitant?
-4. I
You
would
do
even
the tush push?
-4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are they going to be
You even
hesitant
do the
with
tush push coming off concussion?
Yeah, right. If you lose Jalen Hurts, your playoff run's done, in
It's
my
over.
opinion.
Unless
I'm
they
still
run into
gonna do
another
it.
Carson Wentz situation where
But you got to remember this though: that Eagles defense has been lights out all year long. That secondary has been lights out. I think they're going to shut down that.
What's that Philly sports radio? That like famous Philly sports radio that everyone talks about. Mackie, I feel like you should know it.
Xfinity Live.
No.
That's
It's like a
the,
sports, it's like a
That's where you
talk
go
show,
get it.
like a radio show
No,
in
I have no
Philly.
idea. The
There's
only thing
like
I know
some
about
of the
Philly.
craziest sports clips and from callers calling in. Some guy called in, literally said, we don't even need Hurts to win this game. We're gonna take Pickett. We'll
Bunch
we'll
of
run this game
boneheads,
with
man.
Pickett. I'm like, yeah, good luck running
That's-
this game with Kenny Pickett.
That's the most
Every
Philly
time
thing
I
I've
watch
ever
them
heard.
without Jalen Hurts, they can't get anything going on offense. Everybody stacks the box against Saquon Barkley. It makes these bad quarterbacks beat them, and they can't. The big thing is with Hurts back in the mix, guys like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, who are game breakers, will get a huge boost and expect them to have big games. I believe Jair Alexander's out too, so that's going to be an important thing to watch. Xavier McKinney, he's going to have to step up, maybe get a turnover. Regardless if Hurts is in or not, he does like to throw interceptions from time to time. It's going to be big plays. Matt LaFleur is going to have the boys fired up, though. Like I said, the only thing to remember is last year how hot those Packers came out in Game 1 on the road. Perhaps the toughest 7 seed you could see I've thought about in a while is this Packers team right here. They're in the toughest division in football. If they were in any other division, they're probably a division winner. It's gonna be a
I think
tight
it's gonna be
game.
good. This is probably this is definitely one of the best games.
Most
of the week.
competitive game of the
Yeah.
weekend, if not Sunday Night Football.
Alrighty, let's move forward to Sunday Night Football here, 8 p.m. Eastern in Tampa Bay. Commanders and Bucks. Bucks are the favorite here. 3 points for them. Total 50.5, our highest total of the week. Bucks money line at -165. Commanders at +140. What are you guys thinking about this one? I'm not excited about this game. I don't think it's
Shootout
gonna be
written
anything
all
special.
over it. Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield going up against younger defenses. I'm excited to see the Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans fiasco get going again. They moved him out of the division, so we didn't get to see the head-to-head bouts of them throwing hands at each other. I'm expecting him to be all over Mike Evans this week, who got his 1,000 yards. Shout out to Mike Evans getting the 1,000 yards, by the way. That was just great the other day. Killing everybody on the bet, but I think that the Bucs are going to have a good one here. I expect Baker Mayfield to be fired up, have that team fired up. Defense led by Vita Vea and co. They're going to be playing strong as well, stymieing that run game that's pretty much non-existent for the Commanders. I'm not too big on Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, but I think that they're able to score enough points, the Bucs this week, and withstand a late Jaden Daniels push to get the win and move on to the next round.
I lean on the Commanders here. I like this spot for them.
Jaden
Obviously,
Daniels,
it's
man.
tough to beat a team twice. I didn't bring that up, obviously, with the Eagles and Packers. Similar situation here. These teams saw each other week 1 in Tampa Bay. Again, Jaden Daniels' first game of his NFL career. They actually got blown out by the Bucs that game. That's obviously when the Bucs were very healthy. They had that stint of the regular season where it felt like they had no one other than Baker out there. But I like this spot for the Commanders. I'd take them to win. I don't see the value in them keeping it close and losing a close game here. I'd take either the Bucs -3 or the Commanders to win. I lean on the Commanders to win right now. I have no clue where the money sits on this game, but I think Commanders is a good spot for them. Good first playoff game for Jaden Daniels, obviously going up against a tough Bucs defense. Obviously, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, I think they'll get their points. I also lean on the under here. I think this is going to be a little bit slower start. If the Commanders do struggle, I definitely like this under, but I lean the Commanders in the under.
I love the two coaches that the Commanders have, though. They've turned that team around so quick with Jaden.
Yeah, I'm on. I like the Bucks here, and the fact that it's a rookie quarterback. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he had a great year. I think he's going to have the nerves going in this game. But I think that two-headed snake in that backfield is going to be the huge difference maker. And Bucky Irving and Rashad
Yeah,
White,
they're
and then
great.
you have obviously Mike Evans and Lattimore are going to be a great duel. I think Lattimore is probably going to get the best of that one. But Baker does his thing. He threw 4,500 yards this year. I think it was 41 touchdowns, which is ridiculous, so unnoticed. He's going to sling the football. He's going to light up this defense. Bucks have a bit of a better defense to keep Washington from doing the same thing. I think Jaden Daniels will have a turnover or two, which will probably be the difference maker. You could see a pretty close game here. I just think that Bucks offense is going to be a little too much for a first-time playoff performer in Jaden Daniels, but could be a really good game. I could be surprised for sure. I think the Bucks get the job done.
You guys with me on this is going to be a shootout here? You like the over? I think I think both quarterbacks throw at least 2 touchdowns.
What's the over? It's got to be like 47.
50, I think.
Yeah. Too high of an over for me to take, but I wouldn't be surprised if it hit.
And it's going to hit late probably, if anything. Mackie, when you say that you think Lattimore gets the best of Mike Evans, do you think that because he shuts him down, or do you think he just gets in Evans' head and takes him off his team?
It's more if he gets in his head, and I think that Baker's just going to look another way. I think they're going to have all eyes on Evans here. You're going to see McMillan. I think McMillan gets in the end zone as well. He's been playing incredible football.
Put the guns away, Jalen.
Yeah, I think he just finds other ways to move downfield. He's done it all year, honestly. Mike Evans' 1,000-yard season. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like all eyes on him 24/7 trying to get into football. It's not like it's not like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase where it's like first look every single time is Mike Evans. I think that they have a lot more to work with. I think that the backfield
I think
over there.
McMillan having a huge rookie year
and I think the backfield has a huge part to do with that too. So they found a beast in Bucky Irving, so I think they're going to roll with that.
What a draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting McMillan and Bucky Irving later in the draft, neither of them being first-round picks, but really showing their worth later in the second half of the season, both coming on. McMillan stepping in for the injured Godwin, and of course Bucky overtaking Rachaad White, who is still a starting running back, I think, in a lot of other places. Another thing to note, too, is I'm really high on him. I think Mackey was early in the season, too. Cade Otton, we saw him getting a lot of passes when Godwin and Evans were both out. He's been limited. He's been out the last few weeks. He's limited in practice this week. I think he's going to make his return here. That's going to be a boost for the offense. Baker's been using guys like Payne Durham and the other depth tight ends, but I think getting Cade Otton will be a big thing. And I do think that Vita Vea is going to shut down that run game for the Commanders and make them one-dimensional. Cliff Kingsbury, very nice offensive mind for the Commanders. He's going to have to scheme some stuff up to get guys like Olamide Zaccheaus, who's jumped onto the scene, scoring touchdowns left and right lately for that team, involved. Zach Ertz, I look at him to score a touchdown too. Probably some good value there. He's been a trustworthy target in the red zone for Jaden Daniels. Meanwhile, guys like Bobby Wagner going to the Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them. I think that's really rejuvenated that defense. They got Lovu too. They have a few other guys on the outside. Got some young secondary guys along with Lattimore. But Bobby Wagner coming over has really set the tone for that defense. That's the one thing that's going to scare me is if that defense can play well. Sometimes we've seen Baker Mayfield look really bad this year. As much as we like to talk him up, I think we're all big Baker Mayfield fans. He does get loose with the football sometimes. And if he starts turning it over, that could not bode very well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that being said, give me the Bucs here. I think they get it done. I like an Evans touchdown, like a Bucky touchdown. Baker Mayfield's moving on to the next round. He could upset some of these top dogs in the NFC.
Agreed.
Alrighty, going to be an interesting Sunday night football game, but let's move forward to Monday night football here, last of the year. Vikings and Rams in LA. Hopefully all these fires and stuff are cleared up, or I bet this game will move to Minnesota.
It'd be fucking crazy.
Not to Minnesota. They'll move to like a neutral site.
No,
maybe Arizona.
No, it'd move to Minnesota.
They wouldn't give them a home game, would they?
It's the stadium. It's not about. You have to compare to SoFi, and that's the only place that's big enough. State Farm's not big enough.
I feel like no shot they give the Vikings a home game as an underdog.
I don't think they have a choice. Or they'd go to Dallas.
That'd be cool.
That's another one that can compete.
Yeah, it's not like Dallas is being used.
Right.
Dickheads.
Sorry. That wasn't a...
I'm kidding.
Yeah, Maggie, that star logo is a 1-star rating for the Cowboys. They stink.
It's true. It's true. I can't even... Listen, I'll take it. I'll take the abuse.
Couldn't even get a good pick.
Vikings in Rams here again in LA. Vikings the favorite here, just 1 point for them. Total at 48. Vikings minus 115. Rams minus 105. Last Monday night football game of the year. What do you guys think?
Rams money line. You have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I know it's not the same team that we saw. He has all the weapons still on offense. I know the defense gets lit up. But did you guys see Sam Darnold last week? I mean, that was basically a playoff game. He was seeing ghosts. He missed wide open reads in the end zone. They were inside the 5-yard line, I think 4 or 5 times, and they had 0 touchdowns in the game, which is just disgusting. And it's not like they weren't there. He was just.
But that defense was clamping too.
Don't get me wrong, the defense played great, but you're not going to tell me there was no open reads in the end zone for 5 straight drives.
I think read an article that says if this game gets moved, it's most likely to be played in Vegas at the Raiders.
Yep, I just thought of that too.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I figured they'd stay out west.
A lot more sense. But yeah, give me the Rams here. I think Matthew Stafford gets the job done with all the weapons they have on offense. Could see a high-scoring game if Sam Darnold can get it together. But we saw last week a kind of sneak peek of how his playoff run will go, and I think that's exactly what it's going to look like.
All right, hear me out on this one. This is an interesting take I've been formulating a little bit. So Sam Darnold, we know we saw Ghost look brutal last week. Very tough environment going up against the Lions, who were ready for him, had seen him twice on the year, and they're the best team in football. If you're taking out the Chiefs, obviously the Chiefs are a whole different story. Best team in the conference, at least. We'll say that. is the Detroit Lions. They get to play the Rams now. Much weaker defense, light secondary. Kevin O'Connell, one of the best offensive brains in football. He has all the playmakers in the world. You got Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Naylor, Cam Akers. The list goes on and on. One thing that I'm going to say about Sam Darnold, though, I was always so low on him. He's the comeback player of the year, right? If he can come back on his career, I think he can come back and overcome a tough week last week. This Vikings team is too good on both sides of the ball to lose in the first round here. I know they're on the road. I'm just not sold on this Rams defense. The Rams offense is world beaters. They could win a Super Bowl with Nakua, Kupp, Higbee, Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay. I'm just not sold on this Rams defense. And when it comes down to it, you need at least some sort of a defense to be able to win a football game. I know they have some rookies on that D-line that are stepping up, but the zero secondary really scares me. Amik Robertson shut down Justin Jefferson last week. I don't think they're going to have an answer for him this week. My favorite play is going to be the over. I think both teams are going to score. But then again, Bynum and the rest of that group on the other side for the Vikings, they've had a tremendous year. Even against the Lions last week. I know the score ended up getting a little bit more lopsided at the end. Outside of Jahmyr Gibbs, they shut down that really strong Lions offense. I like the Vikings here. I think they're able to bounce back. Two great coordinators with O'Connell and Flores. Two sides of the ball, both playing very strong football. Too many good options. I think Jefferson hits the gritty. I think there's a lot of points for the Rams, too. This is going to be a hotly contested one. I could see a 33-30 win here for the Vikings. But give me Sam Darnold to bounce back and have a very strong game. I could see him throwing 3 or 4 touchdown passes and able to get his team past the Rams.
So I'll start by saying this about the Rams defense. Obviously, last week they sat a lot of starters, didn't play anyone on the offensive side of the ball. Garoppolo started. They lose 30-25. You let up 25 points, not good. The previous 3 games, this defense has let up 9 points, 9 points, and 6 points. Going up against a Minnesota team that last week, what we saw, I know that was against a very good Detroit team, but a lot of people talk that defense down, kind of similar to what this Rams team is. Oh, they can score points. They have the toys on offense, but what are they going to do? Who are they going to stop on defense? They have to outscore their opponent. I like the Rams here. I think they're easily going to hang around in this game. I'm going to take, I don't know about a over-under. I think maybe Kupp, he's been kind of non-existent the past few weeks. I think you're going to see a lot of usage out of him.
Player.
Stafford and Kupp getting that rest last week is huge. Obviously, Nakua, he doesn't even know what teams are in his division. He just knows he has a game on Monday night. I'm going to take this Rams team. I think Nakua has a big game. I think Kupp, Kyron Williams, obviously. I love this Rams offense. I picked them to win this NFC West and get a home game. I hope it's in LA so they have that home field advantage. I'll take the Rams to win this one.
You know what's nice, too, for that Rams offense is getting Higbee back at the end of the season. He's actually a very underrated tight end.
Yeah.
And Stafford looks his way early and often, especially in the red zone. Like I said, though, I'm just not sold on that defense. In the way that the Vikings defense, how many times did the Vikings set up their offense for great spots last week against the Lions that they
tried to play
Dan
Campbell's game, dude.
But the defense themselves, I'm talking Vikings defense, kept getting them turnover after turnover. If they're able to do that again this week, I think they're able to get the job done. Their defense is playing top-notch football. Offense just has to figure it out because Darnold's had a great year up until last week. Just a tough week on the road, primetime spot. All the spotlights were on him. I know they're on him again, but I just think it's a much easier spot for him. I don't think that Addison and Jefferson can be that quiet 2 weeks in a row. That's why I'm going with the over. I think my over is my favorite play.
I agree with that.
I'm taking the Vikings here. I think it's going to be a good game, though.
I'll probably hop back on the Addison and Jefferson receptions. I think they'll both have good days.
Right, I think
this probably will be a higher scoring one to end off the week. I feel like Monday night in a dome, you could see this go over the 48. But I like.
How about that kicker for the Vikings, though? Really, he had a great year, and he shit the bed last week. That's crazy.
The nerves, dude.
Too bright.
Yeah. Rookie.
You see it all the time. Look at that Texas game. I mean, that's college, just as pro, but like every situation, kickers, you don't want to be that kicker kicking that in that moment.
Yeah, best kicker matchup this week is going to be the first one we see on Saturday. Fairbairn versus Dicker. Excited to see those two boot some from 50
Even Fairbairn's been missing some.
Yeah, they got the big legs though. But yeah, like we said, a lot of them are younger kickers in the league too, so they don't have that much experience under them. Going to be a great game though. Two good coaches going at it. I think Coach of the Year going up against former Super Bowl champion Sean McVay. So you could go either way. You could talk me into both, but I think the Vikings keep their season alive. Rams are just beneficiaries of a weak division.
Alrighty, we got a great wild card weekend here ahead as we head into the playoffs here for the 2024-25 season. But let's jump into our power rankings here again for wild card weekend. As I pull them up here, coming in at number 5, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Just about holding that spot for every week this year. What do you guys think here about our power rankings?
It's gonna be a shame when the Ravens aren't in there the next week.
So Hoff's biggest underdog of the week is the Steelers to get the upset. Mackie, who's your underdog of the week to get an upset?
I mean, I guess you'd go with the Texans if you want to call them that big of
Oh,
an
you
underdog.
took my pick. No, I'm not going to take.
What do you mean? I said it on the
I'm not gonna
podcast
take it.
earlier.
No, I know. I want to each have our own, but home dogs, that's Hoff's favorite thing to say. You get a home dog in the playoffs. I mean, that's never a bad bet to take. Plus 132. I don't know. Is
Home dog that you're not playing Patrick Mahomes. That
Yeah.
should be the asterisk next to it.
Well, Mackie, I should have known that one was coming. Justin Herbert as a favorite on the
Come on,
road.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mackie,
Guys never won a playoff game in
realistically,
his career.
Mackie, are there any other underdogs that are winning this week in your opinion?
Rams.
Yeah, I like the Rams as well. I'm on the Rams.
That's a
but,
pick 'em
I mean,
though,
it's
isn't
all-
it?
yeah, nah, they're
Yeah.
1.5, I think, point underdogs.
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
one,
really
but
call
minus
them.
105.
I think the
money line.
Commanders definitely have a
Yeah,
chance. I just don't
Commanders
see it happening.
The Packers are the scary one to me. I don't
Packers
know why.
too. Packers too. I
Packers
forgot about
scare
that
me.
one. I think.
Packers scare me so much.
Listen, I think the two big favorites are going to be safe, and I think the rest of them are just could go either way.
That Packers game, man, I don't know. Matt LaFleur and co. They did it last year. The way they came out last year against your team too, Mackie. That Cowboys team was really strong, and they put up.
Dude, it was
boatload
just
of
it was
points.
it was possession after possession. There was no stops, and the Cowboys. I mean, they ended up putting up like 24 points.
Yeah.
Isn't really bad for the playoffs. There was just no coming back. Like it was like Cowboys were doing everything they could to get back, and it was just next time Jordan Love had the football, it was a touchdown or his points on the board. And
Robert Saleh is going to be walking along that sideline with Matt LaFleur too, so you got to watch out for that. But I think there's going to be some great games this weekend. I'm hyped to watch them. Power rankings, yeah, you got the top two dogs there. Either of you see a chance that the Chiefs go down early, or are they a lock to make it to the AFC Championship, regardless of who they play round 2?
who are they going to get? The Texans and the Texans or the Chargers? You got to assume.
Yeah,
Come on.
come on, yeah, right.
Yeah, they're in the-
Chiefs they have 3 weeks off too. Look at all the time they had off. I
That's-
think they did the right thing resting everybody.
I'm not on the same idea as you. I'll let
That's
you
a
guys
lot of
defend
time
them the
off. They
three-peat.
get more than 3 weeks too because they didn't play. They played Wednesday the week before. It was Christmas.
Mhm.
So it's
But
like
for the
3.5.
guy- For guys who have been banged up all year, guys like Kelsey or older, Pacheco was banged up, Hollywood Brown.
You can
Mackie,
see a
I
slow
thought it was
start out
20.
of them.
It's gonna be
too.
26 days.
That's just nuts, dude. They haven't played football in 26.
But how
days.
fired up is that defense going to be to hit the field too? That's the reason that I'm so high on these Chiefs. We always talk about Mahomes and Kelsey; they get all the glory, but really, in the playoffs, the last 2 years when they've won the Super Bowl, it's that defense. It's Spagnuolo putting pressure on these weaker quarterbacks that can't get the job done. They hold teams to less than 20 points, less than 10 points every time they play, which is crazy to me. And then you have Mahomes with the ball. If he ever has a chance to win the game, he's probably going to do it. Meanwhile, the Lions on the other side, what a win by them last week to earn that first seed. Jahmyr Gibbs, that gave us a taste of what he could be as the top dog without a second fiddle there. I mean, he could be a potential top 3 running back in the NFL. He was dynamite. Getting some time off for him after a 4-touchdown performance is big too. It's going to be a fun one once we get to those rounds, but they got to be happy sitting home. I like the quote by Dan Campbell. I don't know if you guys saw it. He goes, "Eat, breathe, sleep football." He's going to start drinking it this week too.
Yeah,
I thought at first I read
got to
that.
drink it.
I thought at first he said he was going to be drinking all week. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
I read it 'cause
boy.
you saw the quote card and then you slid over and saw the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, he probably is going to be boozing this weekend just watching the games. I mean, not a bad spot to be up in Detroit.
Well, his offensive coordinator has 4 job interviews between this
One
weekend.
of them and his defensive coordinator too. Aaron Glenn's getting a lot of
Yeah.
job offers too. So I
don't like how
I
they
don't
can
like
do that
that.
during the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. I think their mind should be set on the next week, watching who they could potentially be playing.
Yeah.
But in my case, I know we're getting to the draft here in a second. I'm happy that the Patriots are interviewing both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Those are both potential fits for me if we don't get Vrabel as well.
Yeah, you guys said we're going to move into the draft here in a second. I have one thing that I found here on Twitter. This season, Tampa, this is about the NHL, excuse me. This season, Tampa has had a game against the Hurricanes postponed due to a hurricane, and now the Kings have had a game postponed against the Flames due to a fire.
Oh,
I saw
God.
that.
It's pretty interesting.
Funny.
Catastrophic
It's
America.
funny.
Yeah, right. Anyways, alrighty, into the draft here with the NFL regular season coming to an end here last week. Let's take a look at which teams will be selecting early in the
We have the
2025.
Patriots at 1. Oh wait, no, they won that football game.
Wait,
But this is actually fire though, because now we can't take Travis Hunter, who could be a bust. we can actually take an O lineman of what we actually need. No, there's no doubt. There's nothing. You just take the best lineman on the board and protect Drake May.
So, if you hear that, it's a good thing that they didn't get the first overall pick.
You always got to spin it somehow. And it got Gerard Mayo fired, though. That's actually the best.
I told you he was going to get
done
fired whether he won or
regardless.
lost that game.
He was done
said,
regardless.
"Fuck this team, I'm going to win this game."
Scumbag. How good is Joe Milton, though? I think someone like your Steelers, there's a bunch of other teams throughout the league, should throw us a mid-round pick to get Joe Milton. I mean, there's so much potential there. Why wouldn't you kick the tires on it?
I mean, I'm not saying no.
Right? I just can't believe nobody else drafted that guy.
You guys did the right thing, like what the Redskins did a couple years ago when they did RG3 and Kirk Cousins a few rounds later.
Yeah, except ours is reversed. We have the guy who's not going to get hurt starting, and the guy.
Joe Milton's from Tennessee, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see he threw the second hardest pass
in NFL history?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Who was one?
I don't know.
I don't know. I saw Brady and Josh Allen on that list too. But that's since next gen stats came around. So what's that?
Yeah.
10 to 15 years.
Probably like Rodgers or
probably Michael Penix, honestly. That guy fucking.
But going back up, I mean, the Titans probably going to take Shedeur Sanders. Browns probably going to take Cam Ward. Do you think the Giants take Travis Hunter? Is there any chance that Hunter even falls to us at 4?
I could see the Giants take them at 3, or take Hunter at 3 if he does.
They need a lot of other stuff.
I think the Giants are maybe going to move towards, obviously, after getting that 3rd pick. If it's quarterback, I think they go into that draft with Travis Hunter at 3rd. I don't know their other picks. They might have another late first-round pick. Probably not because they're the Giants. But I could see them move towards a veteran QB route next year.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, especially with some of the good ones hitting the market. Maybe someone even like Sam Darnold, you know. But there's a lot going on there.
How Giants would it be to pay Sam Darnold and he goes back to
and he falls back to his face? Did you guys see that Daniel Jones got activated to the active roster for the Vikings?
So he's the backup?
Yeah. I think he might be 3rd string still, but regardless, I mean, they had McCarthy on the sidelines the other day. They were highlighting him, so I'm excited to see him come around. But I don't know if it goes quarterback, and everybody stays in their slots, nobody trades out. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't take Travis Hunter because they already have Malik Neighbors. The Giants do not need another receiver. They need a lot of others.
Well, he's going to play corner
For them?
Yeah.
No, for anyone.
Yeah, for anyone.
Oh,
he'll be an offensive weapon.
Don't worry, if he comes to New England, he's playing on offense. We have nobody else.
They just said any team that takes him, you're going to have like gadget plays that he goes in, but it's not going to be the 135 snaps a game that he didn't call it.
It's just not.
I was thinking if he came to us, I was thinking the other way around. He'd be a receiver for us, and then on big stops, key third down stuff, you maybe put him out there on.
But he's going into the draft as a cornerback. He's not going in as a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's going in to get drafted as a corner.
Maybe it's just for the way I look at it because the Patriots are so offense needy that I was like,
well, Patriots are everything needy. They can use them on defense.
Hey, we got a quarterback and a lockdown corner.
Look at it this way: if you get Travis Hunter, Gonzalez, and Hunter, that's a
that'd be clamps. Yeah, I know that'd be clamps. But I'm not mad with being at 4. I just hope that we take the lineman because our line's
you
been.
You need Will Campbell at LSU. If those top 3 picks are as
we just picked Drake May last year, you got to get the guy to protect him. You got to. I think
that's what the Bears are going to do at 10. They're going to take Kelvin Banks from Texas if he's still there.
I wouldn't even be mad if we traded down from 4. Someone wants to
Jets or Jags will get Abdul Carter from Penn State. He'll be a top 5 or 6 pick. Panthers got to draft
Jets and Jags pick right there. That's all they do is pick elite edge rushers because they can never tank correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jags get Abdul Carter and they have Josh Hines Allen, whatever the hell his name is, and then
non-existent this year,
Trayvon Walker, and then
everybody that was supposed to be great.
Abdul Carter. I mean, Trayvon Walker's not. He's not a number 1 pick. That was a bad draft, but I mean, he's still a very good defensive.
I think Josh Hines Allen. I picked him as a sleeper defensive player of the year, but that team just fell flat on his face. Good thing they brought in Mac Jones to at least help their draft stock, huh? Antonio Pierce getting canned too. A bunch of firings this week in the NFL.
Yeah.
He coached them out of a good pick too. A lot of interesting stuff, but. Sucks looking at the draft, but at least I can go into the playoffs with clear eyes and kind of just read the board. No dog in the race, but I do think that the Chiefs are going to
Mac, you think your Cowboys get Genty?
I do.
Yeah,
hometown boy.
You gotta draft a running back. You saw our run game this year. Could have been a difference maker.
What about Zeke going to the Chargers? Kind of electric.
Why is this even a headline?
Because he's the man. It's his best chance at a ring. Ever in his career.
I saw a tweet. It was they let the Chargers get this guy, and it's a bunch of Zeke Ohio State highlights. It's like because he was such a dog at Ohio State, and there's nothing in the last 3 years.
It actually does make sense though, because all of their running backs are like the most injury prone running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, but even so, you bring Zeke in. What is he good for? 2-yard rushes? Like he
Nah, we saw him on the Patriots last year. When you give him a little bit of a workload, you guys didn't even give him a workload this year. Like
we tried. They were splitting carries in the first half of the season.
I think it's better to have Zeke in your roster though. Say Dobbins and Edwards go down. Knock on wood, because I'm a big Dobbins anytime touchdown better. But if they both go down, I'd rather see him in the backfield than Hassan Haskins or Jamar Jefferson.
I don't know, man. I
Harbaugh
don't know.
loves Haskins because he went to Michigan.
Yeah, is that why he used him so much? He
Yeah.
loves putting him in the vulture on the goal line.
Yep.
First and goal from the one, they throw him into the fullback role, and they're like, "Nope, you had the Dobbins anytime touchdowns ticket." Well, it's a Haskins.
Yeah, well, we did a fullback dive and gave it to fucking Haskins.
Yeah, right. Kept getting hosed on that last week, but yeah, draft will be interesting, but I'm more excited for these playoffs to get rolling. I think we have some great matchups in round one.
Heck yeah, NFL draft there on April 20, or starting on April 24th there. And Titans getting that first pick here this year. You guys already covered it, but Ezekiel Elliott has agreed to terms on a contract with the Chargers. And that's all we got out of the NFL, I think, this week. Wildcard weekend is here and lots to look forward to, but let's jump into the NBA here. Start out with our power rankings. Coming in at number 5, we have the Houston Rockets. Number 4, the Boston Celtics. Number 3, the New York Knicks. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And number 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder. What are we thinking about our power rankings here for this week?
This is the lowest you're going to see the Celtics all year. Now that I've gotten that off my chest, how funny is that? You're like, we're number 4 in the power rankings, and I'm pissed that they're 4. Like, that doesn't even matter. Now that I got that off my
I was
chest,
going to say it doesn't even matter.
back to what we were talking about before we got on the pod today. Mackie had perhaps one of the hottest takes in the NBA world right now that just blew me and Huff's mind. So Mackie, let the people know what you're thinking.
All right, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
You guys-
now he's backtracking.
No, I'll say exactly what I said.
Let's-
You guys just
Let's
misinterpreted
set
it.
the scene. The top 2
I
teams
just
play
don't-
tonight. By the time you're listening to this, that game will be over. Oklahoma City at Cleveland tonight. Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite. I said I like Cleveland, but I don't want to bet against this Thunder team because they're so fun to watch, so fun to root for. I like Shai. I like a lot of their players. They're doing all this without Chet. And Mackie said this.
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, Shai is a top 3 5
That's
on
not
5
what he said.
basket-
That's not what he said.
Well, because I said it in a different. I said it. In
He's
a different
not
order.
good.
I said it in a different order.
Shai is
I
not
just don't
good.
think one-on-one. Like it doesn't even matter. Like it's not even a relevant statement because it's not like the NBA is one-on-one. All I was saying is that Shai is not a top 10 one-on-one basketball player. He's a top 3 5-on-5 basketball player in the world because he plays the game to his advantage. He does everything that he just takes every little
I
thing
think
that the
that
NBA
means
will
you're
give
good.
him. But
He's MVP this year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You got
yeah, because he plays the game to his advantage. He knows how to.
No,
So
I
he's
mean,
a good
you
player.
backed yourself out of that. You said the game's not played one-on-one, so it doesn't matter.
It's not played one-on-one, but I'm saying if you were to take like a one-on-one tournament, he wouldn't even be. I don't even think he'd be top
He's
15.
so big, though.
What?
Like, for a guard, he's so big, I feel like.
I don't know. He plays the
Still
foul
pretty
game a
young,
lot.
too, right?
He has a lot of everyone around him. I mean, I don't know. I just
He was
think
Kentucky.
Maggie's
call me a
very
hater. I
talented,
don't care.
but
Call
he's
me a
not
hater. I
Olympic.
hate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he finesses the game. But
Mackie, he was Kentucky, right?
yeah,
He's still pretty young too. Is he in his mid to late 20s?
he's probably like 27,
Yeah, so it's like
28.
he's at his peak.
Yeah, right around your peak. I think he peaked around 27, 28. But yeah, you guys got to call me out. I had to reword it a little because that's
Mackie's
you
like, I
might-
can't let this go.
you might have taken it a little
Shai's 26.
different.
Yeah, he's 26. He's at the prime.
He's 6'6".
Yeah, it's nuts. I doubt he's actually 6'6", but he's got to be
Yeah.
right around there.
He's
and-
probably 6'5".
Pretty good for a guard.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're not winning anything. They don't win championship style basketball. They win regular season win basketball.
Any thoughts on some of these teams that didn't crack our top 5? Some guys on the outside looking in. I know the Nuggets are out there.
Huff likes those Rockets, and I
Grizzlies.
think they're in 5 in our power rankings this week. They're just not. They're also not making any noise this year. I think they might get a 4 seed.
They're doing
3 seed.
exactly what I said, though. I said they're going to be a pesky team in the regular season and could make a play-in or a playoff spot.
Puff, who do you think
make
is
a
more?
playoff spot for
Who's
sure.
peskier, the Rockets or the Spurs?
Because, I mean, Wemby can go for 40 and 10 or 30 and 10. Like,
I like Udoka, the former Celtics coach.
the
who got
Rockets are a
out
scarier
of Kendall.
team.
He's a good coach. for the
The
Rockets.
Spurs have a scarier player.
Yeah, I'd agree with that take.
Spurs are a year or two away from being, like,
They
legit
need to just keep
contender.
adding. Just keep adding. What
you need
about
a
your
little
boy? Your boy
development for the
Ant starting to
players.
skyrocket up. They're waking up those wolves a little bit. You think they can start turning around? He put that
I hope
wristband
so.
on from that kid that had cancer.
I was
Charlotte
gonna say he
Daniels.
put the wristband on. He went for 35 and 37. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Do they play tonight? I don't think they do. Mackie, your Knicks do. Nuggets
No, they
do.
don't.
No, Spurs and Bucks. Yeah. I mean, I said they were kind of catching their stride. They had a terrible start to the season, but I'd like to see them get back in the mix and make a playoff run. They're a fun team to root for. I know Mackie also doesn't like them.
I don't like them either, but
I just don't like how much you gassed them up.
They're fun
But
to watch, dude.
what?
They're fun to watch. He puts asses in seats.
Yeah, Big Cat was the reason that they were in that conference
God.
finals
You're
last year.
crazy,
talk
dude.
about
He was
people who
terrible
fold
in
under
playoffs
pressure.
last year.
Yeah,
Talk
Big
about
Cat.
people who fold under pressure.
Big Cat. Yeah, he did. He
Cat.
played like shit in the playoffs last year. Actually,
He was so bad in
He
the
played
playoffs
so
last
bad.
year,
Look
dude.
at that team without him. I mean, you gain Julius Randle, who was supposed to be up there like that. You got a nice role player in Dante DiVincenzo, and Ant can't do it all by himself
That's
anymore.
not good enough help though in the NBA. You need.
I think they'll get something. I think that team will go get something at the deadline.
bring back Jimmy Butler.
No.
It's funny because
No.
everyone in New York hated that trade. They didn't want it, and
Now they're
it's better
loving
than
it.
Knicks are now because Cat's putting up 30.
That's what you
25
guys
and
needed, though, was like another
14.
star. Like a big
Big
guy.
guy.
Like, once you
Needed a
lost
center. You
Hartenstein,
needed a
too, that's
center.
exactly what you guys needed.
Oh yeah, we needed him because of Hartenstein. But yeah,
Look what he's doing
had,
with the Thunder. He's filled
What
in
about
for
you
great.
guys see that left-handed windmill by your boy LeBron the other day, Huff?
yeah, 40 years old. It was a switch in midair too.
Yeah, that was pretty clean.
That's just
Those
like
Lakers jerseys they wore, though, in that picture are terrible.
Who's yeah, I'm not a big fan of those either.
Just wear
Who-
the regular jerseys. I
who's-
hate all these fucking jerseys they wear in the NBA, dude.
Yeah, but they could sell
I sound
more
like
of them.
such an old head. Just wear the white or yellow, like the yellow or the purple. Like when the Celtics wear like this neon green and
Oh.
black, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't even know with some of these other
Sometimes you don't even
teams-
know who's
you don't
playing.
know who's
They're wearing
playing.
a third jersey that the color, like the Atlanta Hawks wear black and orange.
Oh, Huff, the other day, the Clippers were. You sent this video of the Timberwolves, and I was gonna reply. I was like, "Are they beating the Hornets?" I was gonna be like, "Don't send
Are
Hornets."
they
clips
playing the
in."
Harlem Globetrotters?
But it
Who
was
are
the
they playing?
Clippers. I was like, "What?" Also, shout out to my boy Russ. He's starting to play good basketball again. He catches a lot of strays, and I'm a big Russ fan. So love seeing him play well.
I haven't watched the Nuggets.
Yeah. Other than that,
I watched
though,
that game against the Spurs a couple weeks or whenever that was.
NBA's heating up though. Bucks are a good team to always keep your eyes on too. I'm still high on those Pacers. I think they'll start catching their stride a little bit more. I think they're tough
Yeah.
out.
I
Definitely.
Matt
Them
Ace,
hard.
Ace,
I might let you guys up the other night.
Oh yeah, that's all right. It's not Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. in the
Right,
playoffs,
right,
Mac.
right.
I told Mackie he let that one slide because that was the game. It was we recorded like the day or two after.
I was like,
Pacers
it's not even
beat the
worth
Celtics
it. It's
and
just not even worth
Celtics
saying
had a
anything to him.
triple-double.
And Nemhart owns the Madison Square Garden. Sent Jalen Bumson and the rest of the squad packing.
See, this is what
They all had to fake an injury out of the playoffs. They
Yeah,
were so scared
they all had
of
to
it.
fake an injury. You're lucky the Knicks didn't get
Pascal
to that
Siakam dragged his nuts across Thibodeau's Knicks.
Point in case. Wait till I don't know if these are actually the jerseys they're wearing tonight. These Black Thunder jerseys are terrible.
They just like selling merch. But I think I mentioned it. I think Jesse has a point too. Jimmy Butler, huh? That's an interesting saga.
Yeah, he remains away from the Heat as they try to work out a trade for him. He made it public that he'd like to be traded from Miami, where potential spots you could see a fit for Jimmy Butler.
He's a Houston Rocket. I think that's the only
But
team
I
that's
heard you
actually
say
going to
that.
make
I
a
like
move
that.
for him, or the Suns.
What about the Clippers?
Did they just go get another old?
They love
star?
taking old guys on.
Yeah,
He should go to Golden
I
State.
can see that.
Yeah, I
I think
that
I think
Mac.
he's perfect
F needs
for the
help,
Rockets,
man.
but like he's not the best, or he's not. I don't even think he's a good choice as a veteran to come in and like help a young team. Like I don't think he's going to help that Rockets team.
That's why I'm thinking. I was thinking Clippers. Mackie said Warriors. That's a good one. Give Steph one more push. Give him someone that can actually help him.
That is a good one.
I think he's definitely going out west though, like 100%.
Yeah. I think
That
it's
is
just funny, like Tyreek Hill, obviously what he said about the Dolphins, and then Jimmy Butler. Like usually you see guys hold out to go to Miami. Never, I want the fuck out of Miami.
Yeah, but talk about two teams that had high expectations and played well the last couple seasons. And now,
Yeah, but I'm saying like usually living in Miami like
Yeah.
had a lot of those problems for
But
those
they're also
guys.
both getting older. They're both getting older too. That's the thing. They're like, all right, we've had our time here.
Tyreek Hill's definitely hasn't had his time. I think he's
He
still
just
living
wants to
that
win
lifestyle.
football.
What?
He just wants to win football games.
Yeah.
And get used.
Well, you know, you don't leave
both those teams need to get blown up.
Yeah, you don't leave Kansas City if you want to win.
Kansas City and then complain about not winning.
Yeah. I think the whole atmosphere. Both those teams need a blow up spot. Both had high expectations. They've been shit in the bed recently. scrap it, move on to the next.
Alrighty, let's move forward to the NHL here, starting with our power rankings. Coming in at number 5, we have the Los Angeles Kings. Number 4, the Washington Capitals. Number 3, the Maple Leafs. Number 2, the Winnipeg Jets. And number 1, the Vegas Golden Knights. What are your guys' thoughts on the power rankings here for this week?
The Dallas Stars are a top 5 team in the NHL. I will beat the drum on that all year long. They just have less games played. I think that's why people are overlooking them a little bit. They're a much better team than the Capitals, much better team than the Kings. I think they're one of the top teams in the West, especially in the regular season. That's when they play their best hockey. They're top of the lineup all the way down through the bottom is so stacked up. They're going to be back in our top 5 soon enough. Caps have been playing great hockey. I don't think they're a good team. Same with the Kings. I think those are both teams that'll get first-round exits if they do end up making it to the playoffs. But it's interesting, huh? No Rangers, no Bruins. Both our teams.
No Rangers.
Yeah, no,
Rangers,
I'm saying
you get a bottom 5. They'd be in the bottom 5.
That's what I'm saying. Last year, Mackie, how used to you were seeing both of our teams in the rankings?
Yeah, top 3 every week.
Your team's starting to trend up. Ours is trending down a little bit right now. Some ups and downs for both of our teams. Got to see some stability there. Teams like the Carolina Hurricanes too. They've been kind of on a slow start this year. Tampa Bay Lightning, teams we expect to see in there normally. I think the Leafs are another team that have been playing good hockey lately. The Devils, those are two that I like to keep my eyes on. Canucks got to figure out their goaltending woes, but they've been a pretty solid team as well. Colorado, I think they're starting to find their stride as they get a little bit healthier. The goaltending issues are still evident, even though they brought in Blackwood. They got a rookie starting.
Blackwood's playing really well, though.
That was a good ad.
He's playing really well. His numbers are like better than anyone in the league right now.
And it was only a matter of time before the Avalanche started winning games. That roster is way too good. They're getting a little bit healthier too, so you'll love to see that.
Listen to this. Blackwood's 5th in Vezina voting right now.
That's crazy to me, actually. But think about it. All the top dogs are playing like shit to start the year. No Bob, no Sway.
Logan Thompson with Capitals is 3rd.
Oh, that's so dust. Who's up there right now? Ottinger.
Gus is 2. Hellbuck 1 again. Hellbuck is the best regular
season go. But he gets overplayed. Shit. Talk about a team that needs a backup goalie. I think it's their own doing in the fact that he shits the bed in the playoffs. He plays way too many starts year in and year out. They got to limit him a bit more.
Talk about a great guy to be a backup goalie for, too.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, right.
Guys.
You don't do anything.
Talk about a tough spot to play, though. Nobody wants to play in Winnipeg.
They're like, hey, you're going in. That usually means it's already like 4-0 in the first. You're like, fuck.
That team's a wagon, though. You know what team's actually... You know, team's actually fun to watch now is the San Jose Sharks. Mackie, I don't know if you're too well versed on Askarov. He's been up lately and he's been stealing the show. He beat the Lightning and Devils in back-to-back games. Those are two great teams to beat.
Who's that?
Askarov, the number 1 goalie prospect in the world, the one that the Sharks traded for from the Predators. He's like 23 years old. Oh yeah, he's had like probably 4 or 5 starts this year now, and Georgiev's on the shelf. Georgiev's healthy. Vanacek's on the shelf, and however you say his name, Georgiev. Yeah, he's been brutal all year. That's why he got dealt from Colorado. But Askarov stepped in, and he's been having some great games. And that team's must-watch hockey. When he's in the net, he's making highlight reel saves, beating good teams. He was touted to be this goalie. That's why they went and traded for him in the offseason. They're going to bring him up with Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini. They're where they're playing. It's just insane to watch. I mean, I feel like I talk about the Sharks a lot for a team that's really bad, but their highlight reel, and that team's going to be really good in a few years. They're building that one the right way. And shout out to another rookie, too, Lane Hudson, brother of Cole Hudson, who just won the World Juniors. That guy's on fire. He leads rookies in points right now, and he's on pace to break the rookie defenseman scoring record. So that's fun to watch as well. But some good stuff going on in the hockey world. Definitely got to keep up with that. I expect some big trades to be coming soon. I hope my Bruins can win some games, or else we're going to be sellers at the deadline. But we saw the Rangers ship off a guy to Seattle. I think there's going to be a lot more moves to follow soon as the deadline quickly approaches.
Yeah, the thing about the East right now, or whatever you want to call it, I think it's still considered the East. Everything's so close. I mean, there's like 6 points.
The last place to the
it's like 6 points in between. Yeah, the Sabres have 35 in last place. Jackets have 42 in the second wild card. So nobody's really out just yet. I think it might be a little too early. I know there's 40 games into the season. You usually see some teams that are dead and gone by now, but it's a real tight race over there in the East right now.
I wonder what your Penguins do, Huff. You guys are. That's always the big question at the deadline, especially when they're in the
You knew they would be sitting exactly where they are, though.
Yeah, they always are. It's like, are they going to buy? Or are they going to sell?
Made for us these past 5 years, it seems.
Yeah,
And
the
what are they
third
gonna
wild
do at the
card.
deadline? Just like make some depth.
You want to hear
moves?
you want to hear my spin zone for the NHL season this year? That would be perfect scenario if we are in this exact spot. Like, say the standings don't change much. Obviously, if we beat the Blue Jackets last night, we're in that spot. Obviously, we lost in overtime, but getting a point there was big. I would love to play the Capitals in the first round.
Capitals suck.
Dude, Caps are good. You guys gotta stop sleeping on
They
this.
suck.
It's
They're
more the
good
rival- it's more the
goaltenders. They have a
rivalry.
great young
Crosby,
core.
Ovechkin. I
know.
would take a Penguins Capitals first round matchup.
Yeah,
Tom
but it's not
Wilson's
even
upped-
Crosby
Becky,
Ovechkin anymore.
Tom
It's
Wilson's
just
upped his game.
It's
so
more
much.
the
Caps-
narrative. I would take us playing the Capitals. I'd
Guys like-
definitely rather play the Capitals than the Leafs, and that's the team that can
I-
catch them for the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, the Leafs are scary because they can just put up numbers, especially against. a
Leafs
weak
could
goaltending
beat
team.
us 6-2 every game.
Yeah, but the Capitals, Mackey, it's a good hockey team, but it's just not star-studded. That's why I'm not.
well, they have some good young names. That's the
Yeah,
you get the young
Protas,
core going.
McMichael.
You
I
get
like
the young core going. That's all a team
They
needs.
brought
I like
brought
that
in
McMichael
Dubois.
guy.
They brought in Dubois. He's been good too.
I think still have Ovechkin scoring. He's 0.83 goals a game this season.
And they have Wilson Ovechkin too. Tom Wilson turning into a skill guy now. He's been great. I mean, did you
Tom
see
Wilson
him?
came into the league as a skill
That was
guy.
the worst nickname I've ever heard in my life.
Did you see him on the power play though when Ovechkin was out? He was in the OV spot, ripping one tees and putting him in the back of the net. I just thought that was electric to see. I'm like, wow, this
Oh
guy.
no,
is
I didn't see that.
sick.
So kind of, I get where you were going there now.
Yeah, he was in Ovi's office, like scoring one timers. Like I'm like, what the hell is this? Like I didn't know he could do this, but he can. And they still have guys like John Carlson, Ovechkin. I think they did what Huff, your team needs to do: invest into that youth, make some good moves, good signings, and build around your old stars. The Kings do it well too with Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty, who should be back soon too. Now that I think about it, someone else has been turning up lately. Patrick Laine. I don't know if you guys have been following him. He's been on a tear ever since coming back to Fortnite God. Been electric with Cole Caulfield and Lane Hudson. Fun to watch. Marty St. Louis.
You take that Habs team a lot.
Yeah, they score a lot of goals and they always have good value. And if you catch them on the right night, on the right opponent, they can end up getting wins for you. I'm just big. They have Slavkovsky, they have Caulfield, Lane Hudson, Patrick Laine, Suzuki, a few other names too. And that goalie, I believe it's like Dobes. That's how you say his name. He's beaten 2 good teams since he's come into the league too. So it's another young team. They're a few years away, but I like Marty St. Louis. I think I like what he's doing with that team. It's funny because that's like one of the Bruins' oldest rivals, but they've been so bad lately that I can kind of be a fan of them. The fact that they have Cole Caulfield, American hero right there, makes me.
Mackey and Ace, I guess. If you had to pick 5 teams out of the East that are dead in the water, no shot at a playoff spot, because how close this East is, who would you say?
Sabres, Islanders, Red Wings,
Flyers?
I don't think the Red Wings are. They're on a 5-game heat right now. They're
hate
playing
their
really good hockey.
goaltending. I hate their goal.
I'm gonna say Sabres, Islanders, Flyers.
Blue Jackets are also hiding up in that wild card spot.
But
Right
I
now.
was gonna say Blue
Zach
Jackets.
Werenski's having like a crazy year, like almost Norris worthy. It's crazy to see.
He's good. The Capitals have some, Capitals. Blue Jackets have some nice. I mean,
Voronkov,
yeah, like
they've been stepping up.
they're not terrible, but obviously
And they're also playing for
they're not
Johnny.
scary.
So.
Is Merzlikins their one?
Yeah, they split time.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'd say Blue Jackets are probably in that.
If they ever made a run for the playoffs, it'd just be for Johnny. They brought in Sean Monahan too. That was a good ad.
We came there to.
Yeah, Chinakov. He's another one too. But yeah, you said 5. I guess I'll add the Flyers.
You said Sabres, Islanders. I think we're all in agreement on that. I'd throw the Flyers in that conversation. I was gonna say the Canadians, but you're kind of big on the Canadians.
No, I'm not big on them. Yeah, we can add the
Yeah,
Canadians.
they're out.
And then I'd say Columbus. That's my 5.
I mean, dude, if you guys want to say Rangers, I would completely agree.
No,
But-
No, you
Rangers and
guys have
Bruins
the
will be in
roster,
the thing.
Mackey. Like I'm saying, teams that you can't spin away for them to be in that picture.
Here's a hot one for you. The team
Rangers,
that
you can
actually has
easily
skill.
spin a story to be like they're going to
Yeah,
go on a
yeah.
6-game win streak
But
at
it's
some
like-
point.
You
Being
want to hear one
realistic
that's
about
not
it.
going to make the playoffs too, because it's just a dumpster fire of an organization. Is the Ottawa Senators? For some reason, they just can't put anything together.
Yeah, I would. If I had to pick 6, I think I would go to Ottawa from there.
Yeah, it's crazy to say too, because they're so on paper they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah,
But
I don't
they
know.
don't
I
play
think
the
they,
They're saying they
could
can
figure
take
it
the
out.
shot.
Yeah, they've been saying that all year long. I just don't. think
Rangers are
it's gonna
supposed to
happen.
get them.
Yeah, how many times do you hear that though? That's been for years now. Everybody wants another Kachuk too. If you can get a Kachuk, you grab him in a heartbeat.
I was gonna
but-
say, well, and Mackey, you guys got to win some games if you want to be buyers at the deadline, or they're just going to sit still. You know,
It was
what I
also
mean?
2 weeks ago when things weren't really as
Yeah.
much as a dumpster fire.
But you
Yeah,
said
now
they're on
we're-
the come up. I haven't been watching. Like, What's the record?
They're not
last
really on
10?
the come
Their
up.
offense is just heating up.
Their offense is playing hockey now, so they're
Okay.
And
scoring
Igor's,
goals.
Igor's,
Yeah, 3-6.
Igor is getting healthy, so you can blame his earlier struggles on whatever he was dealing with. So hopefully he comes off the shelf ready to go. I think he'll be back next week, right? He started practicing with the team already.
Yeah,
So
maybe
he
he
can
was
come
just
back-
enjoying his money.
quick reset. But damn, we paid those guys Igor and Sway, and they fucking shot us right back in the foot.
Yeah, big time.
Some
So
good
far.
hockey talk here. Excited to follow it the next couple weeks and see how the
Mackie,
cards
I'd
play
love
out.
to see our team sneak in as
Four
wild
Nations
cards.
face-offs. Four Nations face-offs coming up soon too. And I think Austin Matthews is going to sit that one out because of his injury. I'd love to see Tage Thompson take his spot or Cole Caulfield.
Heck yeah. One more point here in the NHL. Team USA wins their second consecutive World Junior Championship after defeating Finland 4-3 in overtime in the gold medal game. Captain of the USA, Ryan Leonard, whose rights are owned by the Capitals, wins tournament MVP. Any thoughts on this?
Shout out
Freebird.
Brandon Svoboda, level green zone, Penn Trafford zone. Scored
This
a
is
goal in the gold
this is
medal
literally
game.
America's sport
Stiga?
now. Yeah, he's
Huh?
good too.
Stiga's from Pittsburgh.
No, Brandon Svoboda, that number 8 kid I was showing you.
Mackie, who's the guy
He
that you
scored the
guys
second
drafted?
goal. It was like a rip from
We
the
got
point.
we got Perot, who's
Yeah, he's
easily the
gross.
second best.
He's a
I wouldn't say
gross.
second best, but he's easily top 5 on that team.
What
Dude,
about
that-
Cole Hudson too? That guy.
Cole Hudson, absolutely. He led the tournament in points as a defenseman. You had Eiserman, who has a fucking
They said that-
one-timer.
They said that Stiga kid, his rights are to who? Nashville?
I don't know. He's eligible next year too.
I
That was
think
his
they
first
said
gold
I think they
tournament.
said his rights are to Nashville.
What about Haggins
Mac-
too? He's
or
pretty
Ace,
good.
Cole
that kid I
Higgins
know. I think I
is
told you this.
nuts.
His rights are the Sharks. He got drafted by the Sharks last year.
Cole
Sharks are
Higgins is my
good.
favorite player
The
to watch.
Sharks are gonna be so fun to watch in like 2 years, dude.
Higgins hasn't even been drafted yet. He's projected first overall. He is nuts, dude. Whoever gets him is getting a stud. I love watching
How
him play.
great was the goal horn too? Every time they scored with Freebird going, dude. Oh my god, that was.
They gotta
electric.
stick with that. They have to
Yeah.
stick with that.
That was
That's-
great. First time USA goes back to back though. I mean, on Canadian soil too. Did you see all the Canadian fans bought all the tickets booing the Team USA
Yeah,
team just to
yeah.
see?
How much did that work?
Yeah, losers.
I didn't,
they
I
didn't
didn't know
get
they were
into a
doing
medal
that. I
game.
just sent you guys the post this kid put on his Instagram, and the song was Freebird. I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. But now that you said that, it's way cooler.
Oh yeah,
He's
every
in
time
it.
they score,
This kid plays at BU too.
Who?
Svoboda.
Yeah, they all play. And
Brian Leonard and Perot both play at BC.
yeah, they were playing last year with was it Smith and
Yeah, Will Smith.
Gauthier?
Who's better out of those two teams this year?
BC's running the table, I think.
Well, bring back the Leonard. That just helps.
And then that goalie Trey Augustine, he plays at Michigan
Oh, he's
State.
disgusting,
He's
yeah.
a dog too.
He's disgusting.
He has the most wins in U.S. IHF history.
Oh,
They
really?
won it last year. They win it this year.
And he was the goalie for both of them too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, usually you'll get many guys that can play or start as a goalie both years.
Yeah, usually he's a backup first year, but
Yeah.
dude, kid's a
How
stud.
old are the kids on that team? Is that U20?
17,
It's
18.
it's like U19, U20. If you're 20, I think you can get away with it depending on your birthday, but it's mostly like 19.
So
Is that why
20,
Gavin
yeah,
McKenna
they're
got
both 19.
shelved? Is that why Gavin McKenna got shelved for Canada just because he was so young?
So what happened with Canada? Can someone explain? that to me? They just knocked
Canada had 4 players that they were saying should have made the roster and didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know what- I don't
There's
know.
controversy. You're right, Mackie. Before the tournament even started, there's controversy around the roster. They have one of the top goalies. They mismanaged. They miscoached in game too. One of their top prospects was projected top pick, cousin of Connor Bedard, Gavin
Who'd they
McKenna.
lose to?
Barely saw any ice time. They lost to
Czech.
Finland.
Or, no,
They lost to Finland.
Czechia.
Oh, they did lose a Czech.
That's it. I heard that. I
Yeah,
remember that.
alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they also lost to Latvia in the group play.
In the
so-
shootout?
That's the one I remember.
Yeah,
the
in the
shootout?
shootout, they lost to
Yeah.
Latvia. In the
Well, that
group play.
goalie stood on his head though.
Doesn't matter, dude. You lose to Latvia? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Canada.
On home
You're
soil.
Canada.
On home soil.
Let me ask you this: so, like, all these U.S. kids, it seems like they're playing NCAA D1. Like, where are most of these kids on these Canadian teams and like Finnish teams? Are these the
Yeah,
guys that are playing
they-
like QMJ
well, they
and
They
like
play like
OHL?
Q, they
just
play
changed the
BC, they
rule, though.
play in the O. They all, I mean,
But
there's-
that new rule allowing juniors players to go to college hockey is going to
yeah, but none of them do it yet.
No,
they
I think
all-
we're going to see it happen more.
Yeah,
though.
for sure. I mean, it's gonna
Well,
kill.
you can go to like the O and then commit to Michigan.
Now you can.
Yep.
You can play major junior, so you can
Yeah, you
basically.
couldn't do that when we.
It's the
played.
whole NIL thing. So
Just
the whole
started.
thing was that when you play major
got
junior in
paid.
Canada, you get paid. You have a salary. You make money off playing hockey. That was the whole NCAA thing. Is that you cannot be a professional athlete and then go.
Now
play
it's the same
college
thing as
hockey.
NIL.
Now it's NIL. It's the same
You-
thing. So they're
I've been seeing some of the scouting and like prospecting that these schools are doing to bring in some of those top juniors guys too. It's pretty pretty electric to see. I'm hyped to see that.
I
That's
wish
just gonna,
college hockey was on TV. I'll say
they're
that.
going to grow college hockey way more. There's going to be way more programs. I bet a lot more teams start going D1. It's going to be on TV more. We're going to start seeing. It's nice to see America with the top players. I think America is the premier one now. They've won back-to-back World Juniors championships. And
Was it a hot take going into this to say USA was going to win?
No,
It's never a hot
they're
take anymore
projected to
say
win.
USA is
They're
going to win.
projected to win.
Okay.
Unless like when Canada had Bedard, USA wasn't going to beat him. But the last 2 seasons they've been absolutely ridiculous. 2021 they were ridiculous. They had like Trevor Zegras, Cole Caulfield, Matt Boldy.
I was going to say, it seems like we've been killing these tournaments the past.
And look at the Huff, look at the NHL draft now too. Look at all these rookies that are coming into the league. They're coming right out of college and
like,
making impact.
I mean, they keep saying like US has better hockey prospects. Like the top end of Canada is like still the top end, but like they say basically US is producing way more top hockey prospects. Obviously, the game of hockey has grown tremendously since we were all little and probably started playing. Like, I mean, they're adding NHL teams to different cities. Like, I just feel like the game's gotten so much bigger across the U.S., and that's definitely a part of it. Like, I don't think hockey can get bigger in Canada, and it's only getting bigger in the U.S. So, like, I feel like that's a major part of it.
Pool.
Yeah, there's a way bigger prospect pool. That's what I was getting to. Is like the population, the people that are playing hockey. Like, they're bringing 2 Winter Classics to fucking Florida. Like, there's kids in Florida that like give a shit about hockey now. You had the Panthers win a Stanley Cup, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's electric to see, but it's nice to see America just win it all. I just love shoving it right back into Canada's faces. It's just electric.
Yeah, they're it's like our
better
fifth
to like
sport.
beat them though. Like I hate when like it's not fun to do. I feel like it's not as fun to do it on like a down year.
Well, we beat. What do you mean? We beat
The
them
rest
this
of the
year
world's
4-1.
getting good too, Huff. That's the other thing. Like Sweden and Finns, they're always great. Russian, Chechnya, whatever you want to call it out there.
Czech, yeah, I think it's just Czech Republic.
But look at even the bottom tier. Like even those lower teams are getting stronger too. Like they're starting to give a little push for it. Even that Kazakhstan team that's getting relegated, at least they're playing a little bit better hockey. That goal.
I remember texting you guys. I was at the casino. I watched that Czechia team. They were up like,
Dude,
I
they're
don't remember
good.
who it was. They played Kazakhstan. They were up 13-1 in the second period. I was like,
that team is good.
Is it Austria or Denmark or whatever it is?
Denmark's getting in next year for Kazakhstan, yeah. But that Czechia team's really good.
Like, how do
What
they
do you
pick
mean?
who gets in?
I think they have like a
One gets
pre-tournament.
For the non-World Juniors team,
Yeah,
there's
so
10,
there's,
and
like,
then one gets
Germany.
relegated.
There's like weird teams in it, like Germany, Latvia, Kazakhstan. Those teams that are just like on the border. They take the top 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I think Kazakhstan is the only one getting. That's the relegation game. That's why the relegation game is electric too, because Germany.
Because if you lose, you're out for the next year.
Yeah, that's why Germany. And
I didn't
that
know
one
that.
was pretty electric. I think it was a close game between Germany and Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken. It was a
I can let you
one-goal
know
game.
right now.
Yeah, I think Kazakhstan was leading too. The Germany captain scored one late, and then they were going nuts. But I think I've watched some of those qualifying.
Germany won 4-3.
Yeah, they were losing in the third period.
And they scored with 4. No, they scored 4 minutes into the third period.
Yeah, so that was pretty electric. But that tournament was fun to watch.
It's always fun to watch.
Alrighty, boys. Lots of good stuff out of Team USA and the NHL there. But we got some college football playoffs to go over here. Orange Bowl happening. Notre Dame and Penn State on Thursday. Cotton Bowl, Ohio State and Texas on Friday. Let's go over some of these spreads for the semifinal matchups that we have going on. Again, Penn State, Notre Dame in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium on Thursday. Notre Dame, the favorite here, just 1.5 points. Total 44.5. Notre Dame money line -120. Penn State +100. Game at 7:30 again on Thursday. What are you guys thinking about this one, Huff?
Jesse, my brother's going to this game.
Really?
Yeah, he got tickets from work in a box. I'm like, holy fuck! I was
That's
so jealous.
sick.
But that being said, I'm very excited for this game. This is tomorrow. I forgot this is already tomorrow. I was thinking they're Friday, Saturday this week, but can't compete with the NFL playoffs here. But I think it's going to be a tighter, low-scoring game. If you're a Penn State fan, Jesse, in Jesse's case, I would like the Penn State's an underdog here. I think there's a chance they hang around in this game. Obviously, Notre Dame with Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love have looked unstoppable. Obviously, that last game against Georgia, they absolutely handled Georgia, but that wasn't a real good, obviously, the same Georgia team that we've expected over the past few years that I'm already blanking on the quarterback's name that played, but for Georgia. But they just didn't look like themselves. I said to Jesse, we were watching that game, if I'm a Penn State fan, I much would rather play this Georgia team next week than Notre Dame. Right now, I lean to Penn State. I don't know where the money is. James Franklin in a big game scares me. Marcus Freeman in a big game scares me.
When he's all over Notre Dame, if that helps you.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot
I'll
of it.
stick with Penn State. Both teams scare me in a big game. I might not even bet this bet aside here. I lean Penn State. I would not be surprised if Notre Dame wins a game or I end up betting on Notre Dame. But for sake of conversation, I'll lean on Penn State here. I think they're able to get that offense going. I think Abdul Carter stops that rush game on defense. Look for a lower scoring game, maybe under 44 as well. I like that play a lot.
I do love the under on this one. I hate Penn State. I hate Drew Aller. I think that they're going to blow it again. Sorry, Jesse. Don't mean to go at you here, but history rewrites itself all the time, and Notre Dame loses championship games. They don't lose semifinal games. So give me Riley Leonard here. I think that offense will be able to do just enough to edge out Penn State. I think Penn State's a little overrated. Jeremiah Love needs to have a big game in the backfield. He didn't last game, and they still found a way. It was a few faulty plays, obviously got them to win that football game. But I like this Notre Dame team. I like Riley Leonard. I think that they can get the job done against a Penn State team that continuously blows what they have.
It's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, definitely. Should be.
Heck yeah. Let's move forward to this matchup on Friday. Cotton Bowl, Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State the favorite here, 6 points, total 53.5. Ohio State money line at minus 225. Texas at plus 185. 7:30 game again here on Friday. What are we thinking about this one?
We could just agree that this is the national championship.
Yes. I was just going to say that. I think either whoever wins this game is going to win the national title. I'm going to stay rooting for Texas. That is my team in this race. I don't think they're a 6-point underdog in this team. That's one thing I've never done. I was just going to say that for how much I've rooted for Texas, that's one thing I've never done.
Can you act like you do not have a ticket on this game for 5 seconds and tell me how you think this game
this side of my bracket was totally perfect. I had my only mess up so far is Georgia. I said this exact game was going to happen. Ohio State was going to get rolling at the right time. I need to find the stat that I saw of Will Howard in this Ohio State offense I forget what the spot is. I need to find it because it's going to totally prove my point here. I like Texas. The defense that they played in clutch time against that Arizona State team. Now, to compare Arizona State and Ohio State is night and day. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Mika Igbuka, Quinshaw Judkins, and Travion Henderson in the backfield. Really, the only question mark for me at Ohio State is the quarterback. You could say the same thing about Texas. Quinn Ewers has been questionable. Quinn Ewers hasn't looked like himself the past couple of weeks. They have an answer to go to at quarterback, at least what we think. A prospect that everyone would be happy with them putting in Arch Manning. If you saw an Arch Manning sighting, I think certain Texans are probably calling for that.
I don't want to cut you off here. I don't want to cut you off here, but if they're in a scenario where they have to put Arch Manning in, the game's over.
I don't think so. I think if they have 2 bad drives, I think it's a way quicker leash than you think.
I don't know. If you get 2 bad drives, probably a 10-0, 14-0 game.
True. Good point. I'm going to take Texas. I'm not going to bet this game. If anything, I've thought about hedging. I hate the 6 points with Ohio State. I think it's able to fall within there, but I think
Let it ride, Huff. Let it ride.
Knowing what I know about Texas, if they lose this game, they're going to get killed like Oregon did against Ohio State. I just have a tough time believing Ohio State's going to kill Tennessee, kill Oregon, and then kill Texas. Just slaughter. I did predict them to be in this game again. I think it's either Texas to win, Ohio State to cover. I'm on Texas to win the national title. That's what I'll say.
My only thing about this is that there isn't a roster in college football that can even come close to competing with Ohio State. So it's obviously theirs to lose, in my opinion. I just think that they do fumble the bag in a lot of situations like this. You could see they're college athletes. They're not professional athletes. You can easily see them go out there and lay an egg, shit the bed. I'm not big on Ryan Day. I think that fuck's his name, Sarkisian over at Texas. I think he's a way better coach.
He has his
Ohio State's roster is not even
grabbing
comparable.
That kicker's head, dude. Like that's one of the worst coaching.
I think that was
I've
very
stupid.
Nick Saban said he wouldn't talk to him. I think that was stupid. That's just like in the moment nerves things. He felt like he wanted to do whatever he could. Regardless, I think he's still a better coach than Ryan Day. But nobody can compare with this Ohio State roster. That being said, I think that they can go out there and play shitty football. But Texas does. Okay, you want to call Clemson a big win? You can call it a big win. You want to call Arizona State a big win? You can call it a big win.
I'm not calling you. I think it's a similar spot to Penn State. they haven't like the Penn State or Texas has played bigger schools. Obviously, it's not Boise State or SMU. Like Clemson's a legit program.
Yeah, but we're not talking.
Arizona State was that fun team that everyone was rooting for this year. I think it's just the spots they've come up in. Like that game against Arizona State, there was
I'm
so
not
many
saying
points
it's their
that looked like they
fault.
were going to lose. I'm just trying to spin it to a positive way. I think
But
it's more how they've looked in the moments that have counted.
I'm even talking about the regular season. I mean, you're the best
Okay.
team you played was Georgia. You lose
They
both.
haven't played. They
both
didn't play
matchups
anyone
with
other than Georgia.
You have no top 10 wins. You've never really been tested. You got tested last week against an Arizona State team who's, come on, the Big 12 does not compete with the SEC or the Big 10. So, I can't take
quit in
Texas
that fourth
here.
quarter. You can't do that against good teams.
What'd you say?
Texas quit in the first half of that fourth quarter.
Holy shit! It was like they acted like they won. Like this team's right here. They're playing their balls off. They have a running back quarterback duo that want it more than anything, and you guys are sitting here laid back. Quinn Ewers throwing a 40-yard fucking pass. 6 minutes left in the game. You're up 2 scores. Like, what are you doing, man?
You blink an eye, and it was a tie game.
It was terrible.
They showed
game
they were
management.
the better team in overtime, though.
Yeah, I mean, because they're obviously the better team. It's Texas. They have the roster that's way better. But you play any type.
You're right.
You play any type of football. You have to play perfect football to beat Ohio State. And even at that, it still might not be enough. If Ohio State doesn't play their best, then yeah, it might be enough. Nobody can compete with this roster. I mean, their offense isn't even really the best part of their team. Their defense
Their defense is so good.
And the offense is just like it's nobody even comes close to it. So it's theirs to lose, but I mean, I'm not gonna say they can't.
Texas gets Isaiah Bond back. That's massive for them this week.
It makes a difference.
They need him to play.
It makes a difference. But I mean, again, it's just gonna come down to if Ohio State shoots himself in the foot.
I'm so pumped for these games. This is an excellent week.
There's just no Alabama this year. Like Ohio State
I
always
can't have
has
Texas and the Steelers lose. I can't.
Well, one of them's inevitable.
I need one of them. I'd rather be the Steelers, but I have money on
also
Texas.
You're looking at a 9.5 and a 6.5 point underdog.
It's 6.
Yeah, it'll be 7 by kickoff.
I hope. Put all the money on Ohio State.
Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say it can't happen, but hopefully we get a good game out of this. Hopefully we don't see another Ohio State Oregon.
Alrighty, lots of good stuff here in the college football playoff happening here this end of this week here. Thursday and Friday, these games happening. So make sure you stay tuned for all our picks on those games. Heading into the college basketball world here on Tuesday, we saw the largest loss by a number 1 ranked team since 1968. Number 1 Tennessee fell in Gainesville to number 8 ranked Florida Gators, 73-43. What does this tell you about this Tennessee team here this season?
I think it says more about what home court advantage means in college basketball. Obviously, catch a team like Tennessee who's 14-0 coming into Gainesville. Florida's a good team this year, Mackie. I know you're not too high on them. At least you said at times this year. Is that still true? Or was this win change your kind of narrative on them?
What'd you say? Sorry.
I said I feel like you weren't big on this Florida team, or does this change your narrative on them?
I definitely wasn't big on them. I'm also not as high on this Tennessee team as everybody else is.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
big on this Tennessee team. I think they're really good.
I like Zakai Ziegler, but I think Florida's better than I expected. I still don't think they're contenders.
Yeah, I agree. They'll win 1 or 2 tournament games. They could be a big upset in the first.
I mean, they're getting into SEC play now, and the SEC is just ridiculously
it's so
stacked.
deep.
So, I mean, you could see them fall to
even Mississippi State, Arkansas, like those teams that aren't even.
I took Vandy yesterday, and I was watching that game, and I was like, "This Mississippi State team is so good. They're a top 10 team."
Mm-hmm. Ole Miss is ranked.
Yeah, Ole Miss isn't. They're not up there though.
I don't think they're. Yeah.
I think Mississippi could be top 3 SEC team. Mississippi State, and that's saying a lot because the SEC is stacked. I think they're better than Kentucky.
Auburn.
Yeah, you'd go Tennessee, Auburn 1 and 2. Kentucky's right there. Who am I missing? Alabama. Jesus Christ.
Alabama's 3.
Top 3. They could be 4th.
Alrighty, good stuff there out of the college basketball world. Heading into some news about golf here. Tuesday evening, we saw the first match of the TGL tee-off. The match was between the Bay Golf Club and New York Golf Club, with the Bay taking home the victory in dominating fashion. That team consisting of Shane Lowry, Wyndham Clark, Minwoo Lee, and Ludwig Adberg. I think that's how you say it. Or some A with a weird asterisk thing. The next match will take place on Tuesday, January 14th, between LA Golf Club and Jupiter Links Golf Club. Did any guys tune in this past Tuesday? LA Golf Club consisting of Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood. What are you guys thinking?
I like Mackey's squad over there in New York. They got their ass kicked last night, but
Get their ass kicked.
Scotty's not in this, but so Xander's gonna be the guy I root for. Tiger's on the Jupiter team. That'll be fun to watch because he doesn't have to walk 18 holes. I think you could see some prime Tiger Woods here coming up, but I thought it was pretty cool. I like the idea of playing the alternate shot with 3 guys for I think it was 9 holes, and then they switched to all head-to-head individuals in the last 5 or last 6. It was 6 because it was 15 holes. I don't know why it was 15 holes, but they get it done in 2 hours. It's pretty quick. I kind of like the idea of it. I heard someone say today the whole like half of what people like about watching golf is like, oh, that course, look at how nice that is. Like, and there's none of that factor. You're just looking at like a stadium and like a big screen with a green that turns around and moves, which is like sweet that the green can do that, obviously, and like they're working with what they can. But I do understand that aspect of like when you're watching the Masters, you know they're playing at Augusta, or when you're watching, you know, the US Open this year at Oakmont, like you know it's a prestigious club or somewhere that's like, holy shit, look at this place. But like I'd like them to maybe play real courses. That's just how I feel. They like some of the holes they were playing, Jesse, it looked like what we play on like PGA 2K. Like it looks like they downloaded some courses from there. I'm not even kidding.
Interesting.
Like there was one with like cliffs everywhere. It looked like they were playing on top of the Grand Canyon. Like that was kind of my issue with it, was I'd like to see them play like real courses. They were playing like I don't. They said they made their own course. I
That's
think.
so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely going to be some interesting things to get used to on this. I don't know if they're playing different courses every week, what it is, but it's on Tuesday nights. College basketball's on Tuesday, but if it's every Tuesday at 9:00, I could catch myself tuning into this with one screen going on it. I thought it was pretty fun to watch. Mac, you said you tuned in for a few minutes. You said you didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I also was just like kind of background noise, but I didn't watch much of it. I tuned in for a few minutes. Do they play the same green like every single hole, or
It's
is it
the
like
same. It's the
does it
same green.
move?
The hole
Does it
moves, and
change?
there's like plates under it. That, like,
Yeah, that's what I figured, but it's
So
still like
e
the same layout every single hole.
It's the
yeah,
same size,
Right,
Mackie, but I'm
right.
pretty sure it physically does like
Yeah, like it has like humps in it, and like
Yeah,
and it
that do
changes in
move.
each
they said
hole. I
it's
get that.
600 of these plates.
Yeah,
that,
that's
like,
it, right.
raise and lower, and they can slant, like do all this
Right,
crazy
right.
shit. I don't know if the whole location changed. I didn't pay attention to that, but like the whole thing is on like a turntable, so like they can spin it, and like it's pretty cool how they show them where to put their ball. Like after you hit into the screen,
Oh, there's like a spot on it, and
it's
it
a
says
par 3. Like you hit the green on a par 3, you turn around and look at the green, and there's like a big blue laser pointing on the ground, like telling them exactly
that's
to
where you
put
put
your
your
ball in
ball.
here.
Yeah, it's so
Or like if they
futuristic.
miss the green, it shows them where to put the ball. Like there's rough, and they have to actually chip once they get so close to the green. I think it's under 50 yards. You are actually shooting on the real green.
That's actually sick.
So like there was a couple where the guys would miss greens on par 4s, like long par 4s. They were missing the green, and they're like chipping over this bunker onto this green. Like it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so
I
futuristic.
think they'll get better. Last night, you could tell the SoFi probably paid so many people to be there. It was like DJ Khaled. Like it looked like a UFC
Yeah.
fight with how many celebrities they kept showing.
It's kind of weird though, because tickets are fucking crazy
$60.
expensive. No, they're $460.
I saw them for like $60 in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't
I
see
was looking
anything
at it.
below 280.
I'll have to look again. I was looking at it. I think I'm definitely gonna keep tuning
They-
in.
They retail for 160 off their
maybe
website,
that's
but
what
they
it
don't
was.
have any
I
left.
think I saw 160.
Yeah, they don't retail them for
There's not a
that,
lot
or
of
they
seats.
don't have any. Weird.
There's definitely not a lot of seats in there. It's definitely gonna be better to watch on TV than to go to, because I mean, how fun can it be going to watch these guys hit into a fucking screen? But
It only seats about
the cool
1,500
factor of going to that would be how close you are to these guys playing. Like you
Yeah.
can't. I mean, you can get that close to them at a PGA event if you go to, like, I'm going to the U.S. Open this year, so it's like you can follow whoever you want around, but like you're chasing them down for 18 holes of golf. Like that, in there you have a seat, you're sitting there, they're not moving. It's like watching a basketball game, basically. You know what I mean? It's like going to an
Yeah.
NBA game.
So that SoFi Center only seats about 1,500.
Yeah, it looked really small.
Really small. So
Well, seat wise, but like the golf course area looks pretty sweet.
yeah, well, the building's like 250,000 square feet, which
Yeah,
is
the building's
yeah,
huge.
a
it's
football
just not a lot
field.
of seats.
But so Alrighty, boys. That's about everything I think we have this week. Anything else to add before we get on out of here?
I think that's it. NFL playoffs, college football playoff semifinals. A lot going on this weekend. Make sure you stay in tune to the social medias. We got a lot of free plays out there for college basketball, college football, NFL. Obviously, we'll have our live stream on Sunday, and then NHL and NBA mixed in there as well. Thanks for listening. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah, that's going to do it. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys Sunday.